care of yourself, and hope work's been good. Hi, Amber. Good morning, boo. Thank you guys for all the little squirrels. I definitely feel like a squirrel half the time. Ja? Is that Ja? I'm excited. Hi, Ja. All right, we can cut StreamYard off. All right. We're trying to be a little savvy, but that ain't working out today, and we ain't worried about it. I'm so excited. I might work it, but we'll unmute in a few. Okay, yay. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Ja. I appreciate it. Okay, we're just waiting for Debra to get in here. Hello. Okay, there we go. Oh, God. Okay, well, clearly tech is not on our side this morning, or not on my side.
I made it.
We made it.
Not me having on low this whole time. I ain't hear a darn thing. Okay, good morning. Happy Thursday. Welcome, everybody. Thank you. Welcome, Shanae. Thank you for the likes. If y'all could tap, and share this out to everybody. Everybody matters, and we just want everybody here to check in with us. This is a safe place for us today, and we are going to be talking about mental health. We got Mo here, who is basically just a life coach. Everything Mo say is a gem. She be just throwing gems at me, tearing me up, and just making me better at the same time. Debra is a registered dietitian. She knows all the stuff. She loves words like micro and macro. I don't know what she'd be talking about, but I love her. And me, I just been in mental health for too long, and now we're here. So how is everybody doing this morning in the chat? How is everybody doing this morning? Thank you for sharing. Thank you for liking. Thank you for doing all the stuff. We are going to have Mo introduce herself, and then Debra introduce herself, and then we will get started. But while they're introducing themselves, please let us know how you're doing. Share where you're from. Drop your diagnosis. All the good stuff. And we're about to get this started. So go ahead, Mo. Who are you, girl?
Hey, I'm Mo. I am a women's empowerment coach. I am the founder of Aspire Big, Inspire Bigger, and Don't Quit Your Day Dream, and the VAST community, which is VAST is an acronym for Vision Building, Accountability, Self-Care, and Time Management. And I personally use those tools to pull myself out of the life that I didn't want, and put myself into the life that I did want, and the woman that I did want to be. And it's applicable to men and women, but ladies are dear to my heart because I just want us to be happy. That's who I am. And little African girl from Harlem.
Harlem's finest in the building. Second best girl. And what, Mo, you just said something. Oh, yes, this is a safe place for men. Girls be girling, but this is a safe place for everybody. One thing I do make sure, just even as a wife, like I make sure I create a safe place for my husband to just feel how he wants to feel, share what he wants to share. I even thank him for just surviving and overcoming them battles that he had to fight by himself before he even met me, because men truly go through a whole different experience that I can never even imagine, and they really do have less safe spaces than we do. So and I get it. Some people ain't shit, but that's people. That's not like men or women. Just some people ain't shit. But a lot of men has truly, since they've been walking and talking, has not had a safe place, a safe person. So be mindful of that. Because I think, sometimes we forget that, and it's just girls, ladies, mom. And it's just like, men, we wouldn't be here without men too. I know that's hard to believe sometimes. Yeah. So, yeah, and welcome in everybody. Again, it's Health and Wellness Thursday. We're talking about mental health, and Debra's about to introduce herself, and we will get started soon.
All right. Well, I will not waste any time. Hey, y'all, my name is Debra. I am a registered dietitian. I specialize in weight management. I've been doing weight management for over 15 years. So I will bring that aspect of things to talking about mental health today because a lot of people don't know, but mental health plays a big role in weight management, how we feel about our own bodies, our insecurities, all of that. So I hope to bring some good tips and tricks for you guys today.
Yes, John's a new daddy. John's also young, and John's just cool and chill. And yes, he had just the cutest baby, I swear. So yes, and then of course, my name is Yella. I've been in mental health for over 10 years. I was a social worker in California, working with high-risk teens. So I was driving all around California. I'll hit 10 counties. My kids be like, your kid's 4 hours away, high on meth. You got to pick him up. And that's what I did. I went to go pick him up. Yeah. Worked in a psych ward. Everything was high intense. I got to deal with the crazy stuff. It wasn't the cute side where it's like, how are you doing today? It's like, what is we doing? We got to move.
Crisis.
Everybody involved. Call everybody. My specialty is human trafficking. Unfortunately, kind of moved away from that just a little bit because California is one of the few states that have the laws to back up that, unlike a lot of other states. So kind of once I moved away from California, it's still my passion. I love it. So that's kind of where I come from. Like the stuff y'all saw on the news, I'll be working on it in the background somehow, some way. Stuff that y'all didn't see on the news that probably should have been posted. You know what I mean? So, and I have to remind people, just because it ain't on the news don't mean it ain't happening in your area. Okay? Pippin is next door. Pippin is your kid's friend. Pippin is not the man with the feather in his hat and a cane. Okay? So I really come from that background, but it's really what I was meant to do for whatever reason. And I love it. It's tiring, so I keep my cup full, but it's just nice to be able to support in that capacity. So in the chat, how are you guys doing today? How's your mental today? Let's start there. How's your mental today? How are we doing? Comment in the chat. As we are also talking, we'll be conversing together. We'll be engaging with you guys. Please drop questions at any time. We will stop and read them to answer. And yeah, so again, how's everybody doing today? And what do you do for self-care? I am very big on self-care because I just feel like I wish we would learn this younger, because then the self-care do turn into unhealthy habits, right? Because you weren't taught. So it can go into overeating because, we were talking a little bit before we were live. Good morning, Boo. And as a kid, you don't have much control over anything, right? You really don't. But you do have control of what you eat, because nobody could technically force you to eat without going to jail. So, food. Kids, a lot of kids who go through a lot of trauma, food. When I was working as a social worker, a lot of kids that came from poverty, like when they be in the foster home or group homes, they'll start even getting into hoarding habits just for the sake of, oh my God, I don't ever want to be without. So let me leave this half-eaten apple under the bed because I don't want to waste it and I may want it later. You know what I mean? And then it's like, now you got ants and bugs or whatever the case may be. But it was a trauma response because it's like, oh my God, I finally have food now. I don't ever want to go without it again, so I'm going to save. What do you guys think about that, Mo and Debra?
Oh, absolutely. I've seen that several times. And I think before we hopped on, we were talking about even seeing that on television programs like My 600-Pound Life and stuff. And that's the first time that most people learn about those behaviors. And they think, again, like I mentioned, it's the extreme of, oh, it's because they're 600 pounds and that's these little behaviors that, add up and stack up and then become a bigger problem later in life if it's not addressed.
Exactly. And then the other aspect of it, Mo constantly talks about, time management and goals and motivation and working to be your best self. And I think that's most of us working on that, right? But when you're younger, you're so lost. Like, we don't pick our parents. We don't pick our family history. I think they need to have a tax and credit class in high school. I think we're really unprepared. And you kind of have to, even with support, you kind of have to just figure out yourself and also kind of what path you want to go in life, right? But when stuff has happened in life, it's like, and you don't have that support, you got to figure out how to manage and how not to fall too deep into certain situations. So that's also, again, I'm always just big on self-care because we have to keep our cups full. It's so easy to, and sometimes we're our worst critic, and we have to transition ourselves to be our biggest cheerleaders. But if all these bad things are happening to us, how can we even feel good about ourselves? Because it's like, well, clearly only bad stuff is happening, so clearly I'm a bad person, right? And like, it can be so easy to like talk down on ourselves and all that crazy stuff. So
Yeah.
Or even just understanding that we can have other places that are safe places, right? And being able to entrust other people. So when it's not a good day, when it's absolutely okay to not have a good day and have a very ugly, cloudy, not so good day, whatever Winnie the Pooh said, it's okay to have one of those days, to have people to be able to trust and depend on. Because a lot of us, that trust has been broken.
exactly.
From experience, right?
Right.
So, shout out to my husband. my man.
Yeah, I think that especially when you're dealing with when we're talking about kids, y'all have allergies and they keep making my eye
Oh, sorry, boo. Oh, shout out to the allergy people. Y'all are so strong because I could never.
You know, when you're younger, you don't know that you have a safe space in something, somewhere. And usually it is in gaining knowledge. And, you know, sometimes people see kids and they're off to themselves and they're reading stuff that, you know, little kids probably don't read. And I don't mean in a bad thing, just really like knowledge-filled things, and it's a good thing. You know, if you see a child who's in distress or has trouble at home, and the only thing you can do outside of taking them into your own home, like you can't do that to every child, give them a really good self-help book. As you speak life into them, give them a really good self-help book to help train their mind to understand, like, right now I don't have control over how my parents have me back and forth or whatever it is, but when I get a chance, when I get that freedom, I know that I'm going to be able to be smart enough, strong enough, able enough to follow some of these things and try them and add them into my life. And I think that because we don't see how the whole picture looks until after they're grown, we think that that's not enough. It is. It's always enough. We always say that for anything else, you know, just drop a seed and keep going forward, and that thing is going to grow. And I think that can really be super helpful for the youth. And as for people who are older, that still remains. The fact still remains. We don't have all knowledge. So putting that small bit of knowledge in our mind and our heart, it really, really does help us move forward when we're dealing with childhood traumas, when we're dealing with adulthood traumas, all of those things that really help, you know.
Oh, and you hit it on the nail. That was the first thing I remember in one of my classes when I was going to school to be a social worker. Plant seeds and be okay if you don't see them grow. That is the first thing I remember. Yeah. So if I got 2 seconds with you, I'm going to utilize that 2 seconds to plant a seed, and I'm going to go on about my business and hope it blooms one day. And sometimes it does. Sometimes I wish I could go back and see some of my kids when I was a social worker just to see the impact that I made. You know what I mean? Like, hi, Boo! Good morning, and thank you everybody for being here. Again, if you guys have questions and all the taps, thank you for everything. Please post, just comment, questions in the comments and all that good stuff, and we will definitely get to it. But no, that's a great point. We have to plant seeds and be intentional with those seeds that you plant. Like you said, these kids are back. We're in a new space that we're just trying to figure this out because we had internet when we were younger. We were talking about this last night. We had internet when we were younger, and the internet was not our whole life. We was really outside, okay? Better yet, happy that some of the stuff wasn't posted probably because we was really outside. We really, like, internet was cool. Like, it was awesome, but it wasn't our whole life. But the internet is these kids' whole life. And some of these parents are paying for these cell phones, and they have no idea what their kids like, what they're looking at, how are they speaking to other people? How are they treating other people online? I know people say online is not real. Online is real. I feel like people are truly, authentically their self online because that's where they feel the safest to be on. So that when people say online is not real, I feel like it is. I really feel like it is because that's how people truly feel because they get to hide behind all these layers, so you can't even hold them accountable for that. So of course they're going to say whatever they want to say. So when people like, oh, brush it off, I don't brush off the internet. That's how they act. And if you act like that on the internet, I definitely don't want to be your friend in real life. You know what I mean? And that's adults too, because let's be honest, some adults are just legal kids. Listen, am I wrong? Like, maybe where I work, some adults are just legal children, okay? They are legally of age, but mentally they have not grown. Physically they grow, because naturally you can't stop that. But mentally, some people are just stuck. And that can't be because of what happened to them. And they just didn't have the tools to, like, how do I overcome this? What's next? You know, and sometimes, you know, they get traumatized so bad, they can't even picture what a good life is for them. So,
yeah, I agree. I agree, because some people are, for one, they're afraid to find their own identity for many reasons. There's abuse, there's just fear of being not enough, lack of confidence, all of those things. And so, yeah, even as a child, they don't have no point of, these kids don't have no point of reference. This is real life to them, you're right. Because they don't know what it is to wait for the dial-up tone or if your mama got to get on the phone, you got to get off the internet. And there's interruptions with outside life from the, there's like even those small things that show you, oh, this is not every day. This is something I get to participate in, but this is not my life. Even those small things. But also adults who didn't get to cultivate their personality, their confidence, their thing, they don't have a different point of reference either. So I agree with you there.
Now Cece will give her kids away. Well, I'll take one. Debra already got enough kids at her house, and she got one on the way. I don't think Debra wants another one right now.
Just the one I'm growing. That's it.
No, but that's a fact. And I right now my current job is remote crisis work. And I promise you, like, so sometimes when I deal with life, because I deal with the back end stuff, and I really see how a lot of people think and function, I deal with life a little bit differently. I can fully comprehend and accept that, because these kids call in, y'all, and they really think their only option is to, you know, walk away. And I'm like, how, we skip so many other steps, hun. Like, there's so many, that's like A to Z, like, we got B, C, D, E, F. Like, there's so many, and I really have to be like, I didn't even know that was an option. Like, they're really, like, shocked. Like, oh, I did it. So, you know, I had this phrase, like, people like, oh, people need to be rehabilitated. Some people never been habilitated to be rehabilitated, okay?
Exactly.
So how are you expecting this person to have it when they never even knew it existed to have, like, we gotta understand we all come from different backgrounds. I'm a person, Debra, but it was really just me, like, rocking through life and through the grace of God. Like, sometimes maybe a little in a situation, like, yeah, this is bad. We gotta get out of this. You know what I mean? And God, when you look back and you really be like, yo, that man was showing up and showing out, and I didn't even realize it. You know what I mean? And you just have to be mindful, like, I'm happy that I had the skills and straight through God, but some people don't. Some people aren't fastly resilient, quick to fit, like, because I'm very solution-based. Ask a lot of questions. What's next? Legally. Like, I'm always going to take the right path. I'm always going to take the longer road. And maybe I have messed myself up in that, but I'm happy I've always done that, because there's no quick answer, especially for certain things. There's not a quick answer. There's not a fast answer. There's not a right answer. You kind of got to figure out what works for you.
Yeah,
absolutely. And like you mentioned earlier too,
my childhood was trash, and I refuse to let my kids go through that. And thank you for sharing that, Cece, because typically we are all flawed, beautiful humans, and we grow, but we all have constantly something to work on and learn. Good morning, KP. Good morning, Stephanie. Thank you for everybody being here. And we all have something to learn. So you're a flawed human that now has a new baby human, and you have to program this new human. So that should motivate you to do better. Most parents, right? So that is beautiful, CC, because that's truly what's supposed to happen. Hey, my cards in life weren't the best, but I'm going to hopefully make this hand a little bit better through my efforts and action and healing and growth, so my kids can have a better life. So for all the parents in the room, how was that? You know, just Debra, you can speak, because me and Mo don't got kids. So any parents in the room right now, in the comments, as parents, how did mental health change for you guys before kids and then after kids? Share that with us, because that's a real thing for y'all parents. Like, and I'm like, oh my God, how's my life going to change? And how much more am I going to change when my kid comes?
Absolutely. So that's what I was just going to say is like a lot of that trauma does come from childhood usually. So stemming. So being a parent, you realize how important it is for them to not go through those traumas in to begin with. I have a special situation because I got a stepdaughter as a teenager.
Yeah.
So pray for me, y'all. First and foremost, pray for me.
Shout out to Kylie.
Shout out to Kylie. But it's completely different from, so my son that I gave birth to, right? It's different because I get to instill those beliefs. I get to raise up his self-confidence. I get to do that from such a young age so that I planting those seeds piece by piece by piece, right? Because I worked on myself before I even had kids. Still working on myself, constantly working on myself, right? But having a stepchild who is a teenage daughter come into the situation with mommy issues, which is why she lives with us full time. It is so hard to those boundaries and breaking down things, but then also still trying to discipline for things like going through the phone. Like you mentioned, what is this?
If you pay the bill, check the phone. I'm tired of saying, if you pay the bill, check. I promise you, I don't care if your kid gets straight A's. Check that phone.
Absolutely. Always.
There's so many apps. There's so many creeps out here. And I promise you, even if they're not intentionally doing something, somebody just may be inboxing them, you know? So check that phone.
The thing too, is it may not even necessarily be that. Yes, it's very much that, because that's very real. But dealing with these situations here recently, it's hard because I was just telling my husband, I think of, where I was at when I was 16. She's a completely different 16-year-old because especially these next generations, like I was 16, working a job, going to high school, straight A's, doing what I had to do, prioritizing stuff. These kids nowadays want nothing but crab boils and they want everything handed to them. And their sense of the real world is non-existent. Okay? So they are a whole different, don't even come over here because I know you're going to ask for a cake pop. Because then their whole sense of money and everything is just, is different, right? Okay. So it's different trying to teach them the world the way that we kind of grew up in it because, like you said, they're experiencing the world through a telephone now. Which mentally, I don't think we ever went through. So it's hard to then mentally prepare them for what bullying. And sometimes it's not even that they're getting bullied. It's that they're doing the bullying.
Hello?
Like, so check that.
Clock it.
Because never in this house.
Okay.
Sometimes you gotta tell them, you can go to jail for that, right? If that little child unalive himself, you want to be nasty and mean, you're gonna go to jail, right? And nobody gonna help you here.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you be mean?
A couple people said something. So CC shared her mental health gotten worse, and that is realistic sometimes because some of these kids, every kid is different, y'all. Every kid is different, good or bad. Every kid is completely different. And the more kids you have, it's just another personality. And it's just a lot. Life is not going to be perfect. So I thank you for being transparent, CC, because that exists. And nothing's wrong with that either. It's just we got to keep our cup full with those self-care tools, different tools for different days, for different things. And just, as life goes by, celebrate those small milestones and then take care of ourselves. I know Jaw shared. Jaw is one of my gaming friends. We play Call of Duty together. He be hacking. Just kidding. He don't hack. He's just really good. And he is amazing. He's a New Yorker too. He's from the Dirty Bronx. Dirty Bronx in the building.
All right, please. Don't do this. Don't do this. Because don't nobody do. Okay.
I'm just kidding, John. And John said my childhood stopped at 16, and I vowed not to have my son feel my childhood trauma. It's so true, John. A lot of us, our childhood stopped way earlier than adulthood started. Truly, I was like this close to getting emancipated. Stop playing with me, and I regret it. I regret not going through with it at that time. See, you talk
But
about
that's what's also hard because you got to balance with them wanting them to have a childhood, but then also parenting them. Like that's kind of the point that I was trying to get to. It's like it's so hard because it's like you want them to be spoiled, you want them to have that childhood. Because the same way, did not have a childhood, moved out into a trailer when I was 17, 18 years old because that's the only person that would rent to me. But
no, that's a fact. And then Charlize said, which I totally agree, girl. Yes, so important to educate your kids on socials now. Socials is here; they're not going nowhere. Have your kids' passwords, log in, check it weekly, whatever you got to do. And I mean, give your kids space. You don't be all up in their face every second, but there is that honest conversation. My church, Charlize said, my church had a recent speaker come talking about raising kids with social media.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I love that because sometimes church be a little too churchy, you know what I'm saying? So I like that they got a little, like talking about relating into current real life situations. Why am I a hot mess? I'm always a hot mess. Sorry, I'm trying to charge my phone and be on TikTok. Yeah, okay, so we got all the comments.
So I wanted to say something really quick too to what Debra was saying. You know what is so hilarious? Okay, so I don't have children and I don't have, but
See, I'm gonna hit you up. We gonna talk about something, girl. Cause see, you know mental health too. I didn't know she was in mental health, so we gonna do something, girl.
Hey, see, so I was a teenage stepdaughter, and my father's wife's name is Debra, so that's funny.
Oh, that's crazy.
But and I didn't have mom issues, but I lost my mom at 12. So it was very hard. It wasn't hard having her come into our life. That wasn't the hard part. But it was very hard just letting my mom go. Right. She's not coming back. And she wasn't looking to replace, but she also had different ways of handling. She was never a mother before. She had different ways of handling her own life, her own things. And my father had different ways, and I would see them being so different. Him being used to being married to my mom, and they had such close kind of standards for life that it wasn't quite the same with him and his new life. That it even made me confused on how do I handle her, because I felt like my mom wouldn't even allow me to do that. Are you a real grown up or what's going on here? So you don't got.
That's the hard part too, because it's like I'm your stepmom, so I'm not your mom. So you don't want to overstep those boundaries too, coming from the stepmom. Because
I want to listen to you, but that don't sound right. It's like, my mama would have never let me do that. And so,
I appreciate that perspective though. Like that's making me think. Yeah.
And so obviously not speaking for the parent, but also as a child looking at the parent, you have to. Speaking as an adult, looking at the big picture now, looking at my situation also, like you have to understand that coming into a situation as an adult, having children can weigh on your mental health. Because I'm sure there were times when she was like, I don't like this little girl. And I'm an adult, but she hurting my feelings. Yeah. Or she's making it like, ain't nobody said I want to be your mama. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I wasn't doing it to her, but I was still having my own things that I had to heal from. Like, I didn't ask for my mom to not be here. I'm not saying that you're here and you're making a problem for it, but also a little bit because I really want my mommy.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
And when you're 16, it don't sound the same as when you're 8 saying, I want my mommy. But it feels the same when you're saying that. So, when, we think about that as adults. I can see all the parents as humans now. When you're young, you can't. But even with Cece saying, like, having kids and it, made it hard on my mental health, having your own kids make it hard on your mental health, having stepchildren make it hard on your mental health, all of it, it's a lot. Like you said, it's a lot of different personalities you have to deal with. And you have to grow up.
Oh, that personalities, we're talking about health issues, we're talking about diagnosis. Yeah. We're even getting to that aspect. And shout out to those parents with special need kids.
Yeah.
You deserve an award because I've seen it multiple times. And shout out because it's a lot. Whatever, and there's so many different so many different things can happen. So being able to just be that resilient and that selfless, you know, in that situation. And I wanted to share what you said about like just a new parent coming in. I had a 60-year-old boy call one time, a 60-year-old black boy call one time. And he was so frustrated. This is because let's just keep it a buck, because this is a safe place, this is an honest place. Not all parents are good parents, even mothers, okay? Can we all agree to that? So this one kid called in, and I know I've seen it a lot where I grew up at. And this one 60-year-old black boy called in, and he was just beyond frustrated, and he just wanted to run away because like, I'm just tired. Every day there's a new man in my house because my sister out here doing A, B, C, D, E, F, G, sneaking boys in the house. Nobody cared. And I tried my best to create a safe space for him, for him to be heard and validate his feelings. And he was completely right with everything that he said. Everything that he said, he was completely right. And it's just, hey, Daquan, hey, everybody, thank you again for being here. But yeah, a 6-year-old boy, because I know at least 10 women that are like that. And you are traumatizing those kids because they tired of seeing a new person in the house every week. Damn it! You know what I mean?
And let's not talk about what some of those men was doing in that house.
Oh, hello.
I get it. Like, I get it as a single parent on both sides because I dated a man with 3 kids that was taking care of his kids the best way he could at that time. Better than the mom was, at least. You know what I mean? And it's just like, it's just a lot. It's a lot, and you just got to be mindful who you bring around your kids. And some people aren't as caring or considerate when it comes to that, men and women. And these kids see it, and when they get older, they understand. When they're 3, they don't know. You can do a lot in front of a 2 or 3-year-old, but when they're like, they grow and they start understanding. And no matter what you tell them, your actions speak louder than your words.
Yeah. And I do want to add to that too, because I see this a lot. Like income, right, has a lot to do with that.
Yes,
because a lot of, and it's women or men, put themselves in situations where they're codependent with another person, and so they don't want to leave them. So I will say, sorry, mama, but this is how I grew up, and this is the situation that I grew up in. But I will say thank you, mama, because the one thing she taught me was to never depend on somebody else. And I carried that through. When I was with Cortland, the first time he wanted to try to act crazy with me, where was he? Out the house. And that's on period, because absolutely not. Because what? I did not make sure that I was dependent upon him.
Oh. Yeah. Ed, so talk about that. So, like, in a sense, let's just talk about Cortland because it is Deborah's ex. But I want to bring up a point because this is about mental health and parenting, right? This man grew up, his father was locked up for a very long time, and his mom worked like 3 jobs and took care of him and his siblings until they were adults, right? But then he treated Debra like, Debra, you need to cook every day. You like stuff that his mom didn't even require him to do. And it was just very weird to like, you grew up in this area, but then you know what I mean? Like, but you're demanding. It's like it's not alignment. It didn't make sense because you act like.
Let's talk his mental health issues though too, because it was very much schizophrenia. He was diagnosed. Like if we talk about diagnoses, like it plays.
I forgot about that.
Into it, yes. I did.
Also, it does match because when we're children, like you said from the beginning, we don't have control over our life, right? We don't have control over a lot of the circumstances. So when we can't become adults, we want to, as quickly as possible, create the life that we felt like we wanted when we was that kid. And for men or women, whoever has the more controlling spirit in that, you're going to start enforcing things that maybe you haven't worked for yet, but you want them. And now I got a house, and now I got this lady in this house with me, and all I wanted was my mama to come home and cook for us. And I think women should do things like this, and then like that. But for you, get the cooking because that's what I really want, and it does match. Now it's trauma filled. It's not because you worked on healing and you worked on building yourself to a point where that type of woman comes into your life, and you can provide that life for her, so she's comfortable and safe doing that for you. But it does match. It does match.
Yes, I just meant like in a sense of you can't, if you're not putting in the work too, you can't demand that from somebody else. And that was the thing. Like Debra was willing to do half that. Debra does cook. Now it was him. Like, well, it was like it's just like everybody play their part. Like when we pray to God, right? When I pray to God, I'm already expected to do my part too. I'm not just God do everything and then let me know when it's here. Like I put the application in and then I pray and then I call them to check up. So you got to do your part too, because that's the other part in mental health that happens. And everybody's like, well, because something happened to me, now I'm entitled for everybody to give me everything because I have a sad story. Well, guess what? We all have a sad story. Some people's stories may be a little bit more sadder. You know, you got to figure out what works for you. And I wanted to comment. C said both attachment and adjustment disorders. Exactly. Charlize said you have to prioritize your kids. Yes. Charlize said it's important for me to leave that relationship because it was not healthy at all. So I'm going to go a little bit backwards. If their home isn't it or the people in it can cause lasting issues. Exactly. A lot of our issues come from home. Even if your parents are trying their best, there's still going to be something that happened, whether it's a school thing, whether it's a family thing. And then, who you have a kid with impacts your mental as well. Let's talk about it. Talk about it. Not realizing lasting depression on your kids, having a safe place as a child is so important. My safe place is school, y'all. And I try to tell kids that as an option. My safe place is school. I'm a clean teacher classes for a couple bucks to pay my cell phone bill. My counselor paid myself. And you know the other part of that as a kid? Let me speak personally. And this is what I tried to instill in the kids. Because they saw me trying so hard, so many people easily, quickly, without me having to pay them back, helped me. Because they saw my drive, ambition, my good grades, and like, you're just a good person in a shitty situation. Yeah. And that provided me so much help. But how do you expect people to help you when you're like, F you, I'm breaking this, I'm slashing tires, I'm stealing. Don't nobody want to help you. So I have to tell these kids that because they really like, well, the world owes me something because somebody hurt me. And sadly, even though stuff shouldn't happen to us, unfortunately, we are responsible for healing that. You know what I mean? And that is up to you. And sometimes it may take years, depending on what it is. But you can still live a great life if something bad happened to you. Because I literally survived off of this as a kid. And I still live by this till this day. I am not going to let a bad person or situation make me a bad person. Yeah. And one thing anybody can ever say to me, ask Debra. Debra's my best friend. I promise y'all, my bestest friend in the whole world. I'm about to cry. Debra! Turn your camera off! I want to look at you. Damn it! I didn't want to do this on live. Shit.
It's necessary sometimes.
Oh, sorry, but no, like ask Debra. Like I still don't. I never bothered her with problems. Like I really handled life by myself because I felt like I was an adult and I'm responsible for myself. So, like I'm saying as an example, like I really like Debra could probably count her how many times I called her. I never asked her for money. I never I just handled my own stuff. So sorry, let me get my stuff together.
We're also Aquariuses, so like that speaks volumes. That's very much
drop your signs in the chat. But no, I really I just want to speak I really handle life by myself. Like I just figured it out, and I'm grateful God gave me that strength. But it also I think I spent so much time overprotecting myself that I cut a lot of opportunities and people out. Because Debra knows when I go in isolation, if anybody knows me now at this point, if I go in isolation, I'm just trying to figure something out at the most part. Because
what's funny about that is, I don't know if you guys have ever heard, whatever your love language is. And so my love language is quality time. Typically how we self-harm or whatever, we'll do the opposite of that. And so we are the same. Shay and Ayala and I are the same. It's isolation.
Me and Debra moved out of California within the same week, and I think we probably just because life was life, and that's why I was so grateful for our friendship because we could. It doesn't matter how long we go without talking with each other. It's like we talked yesterday. It's nothing, and we probably went a year or two without talking just because she got married, I got married. We were in both different states. By the time we had free time to hang out and turn up, we weren't even by each other. So it's you know what I mean. So, but that's how I handle stuff. But then it makes me view life differently because then I'm very much solution oriented because I had to be. So then it's kind of hard working in mental health because people want to vent, but I'm like, okay, what is the solution? How are we going to get out of this? Where are we going to go? If you're that tired, I promise you will leave. And sometimes you're like, I'm tired, but then they don't move. So it's like, you kind of have to figure it out. Hi, Nikki Boo. Sorry. I don't know.
Sometimes people be waiting for somebody to save them. And Cheetah Girls told us, we ain't no Cinderella. Waiting on the dark pool, dusty cellar. Okay.
Not the Cheetah Girl reference.
Oh my god. Oh my god, that's funny.
I also got ADHD, y'all, so it's gonna be a song for any thought in my head.
I think I might have. Oh dang, I might have missed that. And you know what? Also, I wasn't. I don't know. As a child, I didn't do child stuff. Like sometimes people be referencing Disney references or Nickelodeon stuff. I'll be like, I ain't watch that. I'm sorry, y'all. But I know about the Cheetah Girls. But no, when I want to go back to something that Yella said, when people say, "Oh, if you're tired enough, you'll leave," and I feel like I agree with that, but that is for only certain type of people.
Oh, yes.
That's for the more assertive, resilient person. Sometimes if you're real tired, you'll unalive. Because there's not a hope behind. Okay,
right.
So this is happening, and I'm gonna make the rest of my life the best of my life. There's some people who just really can't fathom making the rest of their life the best of their life. But I do agree that even those people, unfortunately, nobody's coming to save them, and you do have to find a way. And like we said earlier, there's a seed to be dropped in anybody who maybe doesn't have the resilience. And that's not because there's extroverts, there's introverts, and who you are, nobody's downing you for being that person. So if you don't have that resilience, that's okay because we're all different. But if there is a seed to drop in any of us that you really can overcome something, even if you're sad about it for the next 2 years, you can get out of the situation and heal and grow as time progresses if you take yourself out of the situation. And that will last, maybe it'll take one night that you have to run away from the situation physically, whatever it is. I'm not thinking about only one situation. And you get yourself somewhere else, and from then on, you have a chance to heal every day. If you got to be in isolation, that's cool, because I think that's that's an air sign thing, because I'm a Libra, but girl, girl, I'm gonna call you later. I think we can do this tomorrow because my words have run out. I don't later tomorrow, So I know that feeling too. I need to be by myself a lot to regenerate and everything. So I think that if there's any seed that I could kind of drop into anybody's spirit, because we never know who we're talking to. Because we have everybody coming in and we always speak into them and it's always hi and love you and friend, but we don't know everybody's inside thoughts for real on an everyday basis. So if there's a seed that I could drop for anybody, it is that it's a couple of hours, a couple of minutes out your life where you can decide to say, I'm not doing this anymore. And then from then on, you have freedom to heal. And there's a safe space, and you do not to heal. And you can make the rest of your life the best of your life. You can. There's no other alternative but to do it. You can
and just try. Literally, you may not even know what your options are. I do want to say, babe, my husband said that women's perspective on this is a little different from us men. Interesting, but I respect it. Well, babe, comment.
Don't jump on.
Comment what's different. And then I wanted to share too, integrating from what Mo said. Some of that too comes from, now Mo comes from an African background, but been here. So in a sense, some people understand she didn't come at 30 and then been here a couple of years. Like Mo been out here.
Yeah, and my mama from Harlem. The only African she knew was my daddy.
Love it. Thank you for clarifying, because
I know that Black American experience too.
No, I love it. No, thank you for clarifying. Well, I just want to add that because growing up, and I'm so proud of our community because I think we're getting better. But growing up with some OG big mamas and Black folks therapy, what is that?
Yeah.
Something wrong with you? Huh? Why you complaining? Huh?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I'm so happy we're getting away from that because you would get shut. What do you need help? You don't need help. Ain't no wrong with you. Ain't no wrong with you. Go lay down. Go take a nap. Go eat something. You know what I mean?
That is every day. So come on.
What's the difference?
Oh my God. Where's my pearls?
I love my brother-in-law, y'all.
But yeah, like we really came from that. So you got to add that factor for some of us millennials and older. Because what do you mean hell? Ain't nothing wrong with you. Why you crying? You ain't bleeding? Like, damn, I got to bleed to cry?
Right.
Well, that's what's interesting too. So my son has ADHD, combined type ADHD. It's a lot. It's a lot to handle. So my husband grew up with his parents, specifically his dad, being really strict and really tough. And so even within himself, he's trying to get away from that type of parenting in and of itself. And yes, I am a Scorpio hater.
Hold on, I gotta say, Charlize hit it on the nail. I'll give you something to cry about. Damn, right.
That
That's
part.
like, I'm just crying about something small. Now you want to whoop me?
Yes. So like the more like being with me and like trying to explain stuff to my husband, like about my son and understanding that like he doesn't understand. He needs to just learn. It's just gonna be that he's gonna learn. He doesn't learn that way. And so, like you said, especially raising kids with special needs, it's learning about their diagnosis, right?
Yeah.
So I had time to figure this out also through that. I figured out I had ADHD too. So I was like, oh yeah, our brains work the same. So it's easier for me to parent him.
You know, there's another quick thing I wanted to add to what you were saying, Deborah. And circle back to what Focus said, like the perspective of men and women are different in this, because I have ADHD severe, right? And the way that it manifests in girls are you know, a lot different than boys, because the boys, you are seeing that it's in physical, you're seeing like, hey, brother.
Mask so much easier.
And with girls, though, you think this little girl heard you. She ain't heard nothing you said. And she's nodding her head, and she wants to be a good girl for you. And she wants to listen, but she's gone. And you wondering why I told this girl, and now she's saying to herself, I'm not good enough. You know, for boys, it's like, they getting on, you know, so it does manifest different, and our perspective on life and our perspective on self can be a little different when we're dealing with those kind of special needs or behavioral, or we think they're doing behavioral and the girl is not, but really it's both. We are dealing with the same thing, just in a different, you know, manifestation.
Absolutely.
It does, and it is tough, because if he was a girl and he was manifesting it in a way where he was more calm, and it seemed like he was hearing your son, maybe your husband would say, oh, he'll get it. He just need a little bit more. He'll have a little bit more patience with it. But because he's probably moving at the same time, he's like, boy, I said hello.
Yes.
I'm talking
Stop
to you.
jumping around. Stop flapping around. Like, that's what he does. He bounces. I don't know.
But for me growing up, I daydreamed all day. So I would come home and it's time to do homework, and my mother would be like, you're smart and you know how to do this. And last week you got a 90 on your test, but today you don't know how to do this? No, it's because I daydreamed this week and I let the ADHD get the best of me. And now you're telling me you're not stupid, you know how to do this, but that told me, oh, I'm stupid.
Yes.
I don't know how to do this. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
If Johnny had 5 apples.
No, for real, that was my mama. Little girl, let me tell you something. Because you're not playing today. Like,
well, and like, let's not even get into the fact where it's funny, because we were at my daughter's softball game the other day, and my mom was like, yeah, she didn't do softball because she was out there picking flowers in the field and blah, 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 blah. And y'all couldn't figure out that I had ADHD then, but they didn't know about like mental health diagnosis back then. Like, it wasn't as prevalent. It wasn't as talked about. It was taboo. So, and especially for girls.
Right. And that's absolutely right, because that intersects into kids going to school, parents wanting to have, every parent wants to have the best child, right? Realistically, I think that's a normal feeling. But some of y'all kids need to get tested and assessed. to get the help that they need to overcome, to strive, to succeed. And I think some parents, because I've seen this, so respectfully, again, I work on the back end, so I see the crazy stuff you don't hear every day, so this might be a new conversation for you. But some parents are just embarrassed, so they don't get the kid help because they want to feel like I'm the best parent with the best kid, but you're literally like hurting.
So my mother literally told me when I was younger.
Like, IEPs, 504, there's so much help. And you're like, I'm embarrassed. I don't want you to embarrass me because you got an issue. Like, first of all, you made him. So the issue came somewhere. So the issue came from somebody's age, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, the issue came from one of y'all two that created it. You know what I mean? Like, stuff happens.
But it's also the beliefs behind it.
Have a chance. It's crazy.
My mother literally told me she didn't want me to have a diagnosis because it would go on file with the government and I wouldn't be able to get a job when I was older.
Listen, that is exactly what I was going to say. And it's the honest to God's truth. We have to be honest with ourselves. Also, with that generation, the parents that who were our parents, or maybe grandparents, because my parents are probably older than y'all, but that generation, things like that were used as a weapon against their Black and brown children.
Exactly.
Black children, because, you know, it wasn't a lot of a mixture in that time as much as
right.
I'm going to say Black and brown children, that was used as a weapon. And so when our parents didn't get us evaluated, it's because they were trying to protect us. And it wasn't even about just embarrassment. It was about that was going to follow you. And when you did go look for a job, they would find it. And they would find a reason not to hire you. That's how it was for, you know, and also the testing wasn't made for you.
At all.
At all.
It's got, like, we are in a better space, definitely. And this is why we need to learn, right? And let me not miss any comments right quick. We got to
Focus had a good one.
Some more Legos.
Focus had a good one. So he was saying, like, as far as how many people self-diagnose, and I think that goes perfectly to Mo's point, is that because it's not made for some of us, sometimes we figure it out by learning, hey, we put together, oh, this is a characteristic, this is a characteristic. And even without that medical diagnosis, we know.
Yes, yes.
But I do want to say, I'm very, very big on this. People got to stop. Like, and I get it, like, there's signs, but I have a big issue with people overly, like, because I think, and I stand on this hill, I think 2025 is obsessed with labels.
Yeah.
I love any hashtag you could add, I'm going to add it, okay? Yeah. They love labels now, and everybody, like, my kids in foster, like, I'm bipolar. First of all, you're not. I know, because I took you, and you're not. And you got to stop acting like that's an excuse for you to do whatever you want. Okay,
yeah.
So some people just love self-diagnosis because it's not like some people say like, "Oh, I'm bipolar." It's like it's cute. Like, first of all, it's not, and it's serious for people to actually go through that. Okay, so some people, you know, they play with that a little too much for my liking, but a lot of people do. And hold on, let me get to this right quick. Charlize says some parents have big egos instead of wanting to improve the quality of their child's life. Mm-hmm. Exactly, ego is horribly dangerous sometimes. And then this is my friend Christina. Both my children have high functioning autism, and it's stigma. And I know autism, that is a whole other umbrella. And I know we're getting better with that and being able to provide support to that community, which is so amazing. And I just hate that there's a lot of negative, like a negative thing attached to that because some of them are smart.
Oh, incredibly. Most of them are smart.
I mean, like, God damn, like.
Well, I talk about doing physics homework all the time because I went back to school. When it comes to the evaluation, I got myself evaluated when I was 35 because it's no reason why I'm going to pre-algebra in trigonometry and this guy sound like he's speaking in Italian to me. I don't understand what's happening, and I know how to add. I work in accounting. So I got myself evaluated, and that's when I found out I got diagnosed with ADHD and a math deficiency, like a math issue.
Oh, I hate math, and my husband went to college for it.
I talk about math is hard. I talk about doing physics and all the now because I'm doing it now all the time in Newton. Now it has come out later on, and I guess more recently that he was autistic. I said, now I understand why it's hard because they're so smart and they're focused is so like laser beam that it's
Yeah,
not
once they find what they like,
great on this. We should just be like, hey, try this out, see how this feels. Oh, look at the cool thing Newton figured out. And then come on, because this is not for the mind of the unfocused. This is hard. So yes, they're very smart.
Well, that goes back to diagnoses too.
Sorry, Christina, I appreciate that. She said, I parent different. I'm real with my kids and they know they have it. And honestly, it's nothing wrong with having a diagnosis. I think, some people over-shelter their kids where it's like, well, we're just not going to do it because if we ignore it, it doesn't exist. But prepare them and then also treat them normal. I grew up with, my brother and sister side of the family, I don't play them folks. I don't like them. But I grew up around, what? No, don't do that. I don't like some of them folks. I stand on that. But some, a couple of the little cousins back in the day, had a couple of disabilities. And everybody treated them normal because they know what they be doing. Yeah. What? No, you can't have more. What? We all equal around here.
Even nonverbal. You will get your point across when you want to.
But some people like, there's a diagnosis. We gotta do whatever you want. Don't no. Hey, you gonna get your ass whipped? All right, yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. Yeah.
And you need to learn as a parent
just
too.
That. It don't matter what diagnosis you got.
Because you're responsible for this person. Because again, this is a person that you are building and helping them cultivate and all of that. You're responsible to learn all the different ways that there is to raise a child with those disabilities. You need to learn their diagnoses so you know how to help them. This is about servicing the child. Now, before it was, they were treated and weaponized against children, but now we see we have to advocate for ourselves as a people, and because we are getting better into advocating for ourselves, we have to advocate for our child not only by fighting for them, but also getting them diagnosed so that they can be serviced properly. That means you have to learn the laws around it. You have to now learn the techniques around how to better service your child when you're in the home with them. Because when they go to school, there's more children who have the same thing. You have your one child and you're already going crazy in the house. What do you think that teacher's going through for the next 8 hours?
Teachers, because I could never. Shout out to teachers, because I could never.
And that's why I chose to homeschool my son. That's why I chose to homeschool my son, because his school was not equipped to give him the best of what he needed. And that's why we're still fighting to try to, look into the autism diagnosis, because he's in 2nd grade and he's doing 8th grade math.
Oh, yeah. So, folks, my husband asked, do you believe in homeschool? How does everybody feel about homeschool?
Yes, please.
It's ways to do it, though, because some programs is very much... They're not getting what they need to get. I love the program we chose to go through because it's still technically through public school. So he still has to hit, the same standardized testing, still has to make sure that he's, not falling behind on other things, because math and science, genius. Yeah. This kid is crazy. But he also doesn't like to do things that require attention, like reading and comprehension and answering questions, regarding the reading. So homeschool is awesome if you are still making sure that other parts of your child's education is not falling through the cracks.
Right. Yeah. Honestly, because it's funny, a stepmom called in for a kiddo that was her stepdaughter. Her stepdaughter. She had a baby with her dad, so old child, but they divorced or whatever. And the girl was going through a hard time. So we had a conversation about, unfortunately, illegal route to help the kid. But sometimes illegal routes are like the best decision for her. So if we can make her get out there, y'all lay low for the next 6 months, everything should be okay. And she was from Texas, and I was like, well, how are you guys going to handle school? I'm trying to figure out, try to avoid barriers. As long as she don't get hurt, because she can't really go to the hospital because they're going to want to know where her parents are at. How are you going to do school? And she was like, yeah, Texas, homeschool in Texas is different and better. She did actually say that. So it's kind of crazy how that intersects, because she lives in Texas, so we were trying to get her there. And then
Charlie said, I think to each their own. I personally wouldn't, because I don't feel qualified enough to give education. And you know what? The thing is that when I think about homeschooling, now I don't have no children, so now I can theorize. But my hope is that I'm 40 years old now. If I meet a man and have a child and we decide that we're going to do homeschooling, I'm going to have enough money to pay for somebody to come to homeschool them for a couple hours, because I'm not no teacher.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know about that confident. I love the idea though, but like you said, there are probably a lot of different programs. If you do like actual deep research, there's probably a lot of different amazing programs that can work for different people. Because again, every kid also learns differently. There was a time in high school, half of my junior year, I had to homeschool. Motivation where? Huh?
Yeah.
Motivation where? You said just turn in your homework where you can. If you don't give me a date, it's not getting done.
They
Huh?
have like cohorts too, like co-op systems where parents in a community pull together, and then they have and it's better equipped for the kids who are being homeschooled too. So
Yeah, but there's so many different programs, and like I said, that's what I liked about my son's is because he actually has teachers. He has a gifted and talented teacher. He has a homeroom teacher. Like, so they do the whole thing.
It's not only you as a parent, because that's a lot as a parent. That is your whole
Yeah, coming up with, when I was looking into it, I'm like, man, I got to come up with like lesson plans and stuff. Like, I run a business. I'm busy.
I'm going to school to work to own a business or work for the rest of my life. Well, how am I gonna do that?
Right, exactly.
Go to work. That's how I feel about it. Because back to what you said, Debra, one thing about it, I was raised by, yes, I had my mother until I was 12, and then his wife came in when I was about 16, but my father was the constant in my whole life. And that man was like, you getting a job, and you're going to work, and you're going to take care of yourself, and all those, you don't never know. Until this day, I'm 40, you don't be like, when you going to get married? You don't, I be saying like, Dad, I really wish I could find a husband and be married and have children. He's like, everybody don't need to have that. Like, wait. You're like, and then when you graduate and you get a good job, and then what kind of house do you want? He don't care nothing about no. Get your stuff on your, So I definitely grew up with that too.
Charlize said, no, she loves it at school, but yeah, no, there's so many different programs. Yeah, man, I think that's a good point. Homeschool early, maybe, and then let them experience. Because that is the downside of homeschool, especially for people that don't have big families. I'm not a big family person. I don't even claim the couple people that I do have in my family at this point. So when you don't have that, you know what I mean? Like, socialization is so important. These kids, let me tell y'all, these kids irk my nerves sometimes. Because they be like, oh, I just can't socialize, but you can get in a car with a stranger? The math is not mathing. you can't go to school because the socialization is hard, and you can't focus because you get in a car with a stranger. Like, please make it make sense to me. And I promise you, these are real words for real kids. Like, yeah.
But there's other stuff to socialize too. So like we have Taekwondo. Because now that softball's over, we're doing Taekwondo.
Yeah, but half of the day at school, these teachers are trying to get these kids to stop talking to each other. So they're not. It's not a super social thing there. It's not supposed to be. After you finish having your school, you probably have half the time when you're doing your school, and then these kids at school, because half of the time those kids are getting wrangled all day, and trying to focus them back. You go take them to social events that the other kids are going to. Karate, whatever, or after school program.
Well, and then with my son, because they were seeing his stuff as behavioral issues, like what really was the tip of the iceberg for me was they didn't even allow him. They put him in detention during the Christmas party. So even the social aspect of it, because of his disability, which
you're not being socialized.
I'm surprised I handled it the way I did, the way I wanted to handle it. They didn't want me to. But
no, Debra, you just made a good point, because working as a social worker, I had to work in the schools a lot, because literally, even though I was not this kid parent, I had, because they were on my caseload, I had the rights. I had to sign stuff. I had to go to their doctor's appointments with them. I was literally their parent. They just didn't come home with me. That's what being a social worker felt like. So I would go to these meetings, and a lot of it was 504s. And 504s is more behavioral based, and IEPs is more educational, diagnosis, development based. And a lot of them starts with, it's a behavior, they're acting up. But you ain't even gave them assessment to see if it's a developmental thing. It comes.
They refused his IEP and only did a 504. That speaks volumes.
Yeah, it comes from poverty, and those tests take time. IEPs are so extensive, but if once you get it done and your kid tries, so much success can happen. And I say,
so the crazy thing, and this is about advocating for your children too, is they straight up refused to do his IEP. They told me that in Texas that you have to be 2 grade levels behind to qualify for an IEP. Did some research. There's a gifted IEP. I requested a gifted IEP. We don't acknowledge that in Texas, which is a lie because one of my coworkers' daughter is autistic and has a gifted IEP. My nephew, who lives in the town over, is autistic and has ADHD and has a gifted IEP. So they straight up lied to me, and I'm advocating, I'm pushing, and I'm reaching the superintendent, and I'm getting nowhere. So guess what? That's why we are on homeschool, and we're doing it this way, because I'm not about to sit here and go round and round and round with these people.
That's why as a family, that's why, we should all be intentional of where are we moving? What neighborhood are we in? What school are we in? What county are we in? How do they handle things? What's appropriate here? What are my resources? What are my options? Where you live is so critical to your life and mental health. You know what I mean? And sometimes it's like, I just need somewhere to stay. But eventually we want to work to a place where your kid is in a space. When people call into my hotline and like they need help, I feel bad because I know once they say a certain place, they don't got much help there. But if you call for some of these other places, Chicago, New York, lots of resources. Walk outside. They're right there. But some of these towns and places, they just don't have anything. They really don't. They're really behind.
Yeah.
And they made a good point too. She said a lot of people working in the schools are there for a paycheck. They don't care about the children. And that is so true and so unfortunate. And let's bring racial bias, any biases into it. I know teachers and stuff are trained to not be biased, but the things that I saw, especially, I'm in Texas, y'all, especially at his school, for the racial bias behind it, child, be so wild.
And like I said, it's not even it's any kind of racial, immigrant, black, Mexican, anything, respectfully.
Listen, I'm from New York City. The one thing about New York City is that it is segregated. It is very, very.
I mean, there's a lot of y'all, a lot of people in New York, a lot of different people compared to the rest of the world.
Focus.
And we got Chinatown in every borough. Okay, where the black folks stay in every borough. Okay, when you think about it, and the schooling shows the segregation real well.
Just to share right quick about education, Focus mom, she lives in Staten Island, but she's a teacher in Harlem. So actually, mom's always in Harlem. So she teaches in Harlem second graders. So just share the background of like.
So when it comes to that. And I can talk about Manhattan specifically. When it comes to that, growing up, a lot of the black children don't go. The schools downtown in downtown Manhattan versus the schools in Harlem or all the way uptown. Super stark difference. The funding that they get, super stark difference. Okay, so you have to, if you're gonna have them teachers, like I'm sure Focus mom cares about the kids. And maybe the kids that are around her get cared for because she's there. But that funding, it don't be the same.
Let me share something right quick. Just because it is New York and we're talking about education, because every place is different. His mom updates us all the time. The immigrant situation going on out there right now, they're literally just throwing kids. Here's a kid. Oh, we don't know their name. We know that they're at the shelter and they're here today. And then they're not here for another 2 weeks. And then they show up for 1 day. Then they're not here for 3 weeks. And then she never sees them again. Yeah. That's how they treat her classroom. Here's a kid, like, oh, here's just a paper, like.
Yeah, and they're not doing that downtown.
And I got these all these other kids in.
I promise you, they're not doing that downtown at Xavier.
They doing it where
they're not doing that downtown over there at Montefiore and them. They're not doing that, okay, or wherever they are. They ain't nothing.
Like she is amazing. Like you said, shout out to the teachers but it is different because like. Other point, New York. I know people was getting on J-Lo a couple months ago, and she tried to go back to the Bronx, and it's like, girl, we not messing with you. Like you went to this preppy school. Y'all had to wear uniforms. Y'all had everything y'all needed. Like it was just like really a difference of like what school you go to. Because some schools like now you got to share books. You don't get to take books home because there ain't enough for everybody to take books home. I don't know if New Yorkers take books home, but we did.
We had to buy our own. Well, I can't speak for public schools. I went to Catholic schools too, but I'm going to say for sure, every single Catholic school I went to was in Harlem, and it was funded, it was ran that way. It was ran like it was a public school. It was your parents are paying for things, but it's not the same education because there's school downtown that has a lot different had a lot different things. Yeah. It's no joke, but not to say.
I was gonna say, Flavia said she didn't even have a desk.
That's crazy work.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to say something about New York City in comparison, but I was trying to say the similarity of New York City and the fact that New York City and Texas will have the same experiences. You just don't expect it in New York City because you think it's a melting pot, but it's just as racist, and they don't respect the IEPs. They don't respect when you go and ask to have your child evaluated. A lot of the schools won't evaluate your child if it has something to do with behavior in their mind. Automatically, they're thinking, y'all poor, your kids bad, you don't raise them right, you ain't gonna do right by them. All you're gonna do is hold this project apartment for them so when they get older, they get a drug dealer boyfriend, they gonna keep inhabiting this space and area. Your life is not worth much. That's the New York City experience, right? But in other places, they're saying, oh, your child's behavior is this and that, and we don't have those services here. But it's all for the same thing. They're not. You have to advocate for your child, and you have to fight and fight and fight just to get services. There are some really good people. I want to say that I have one of my best friends. Her name is Dr. Naima Burgess, and she went from the time she was a child, she knew she wanted to be in psychology, and she's gotten her PsyD, and this is her number one focus: helping children of color get evaluated and have it be a safe result, a true result. Not, oh no, it's just behavioral, or let me put you on this medication. She's really evaluating them and really making sure that our children and our young adults and our Black Black and of color adults who are going back to get evaluated get a true evaluation. And we have to look for people like her and people who are really out here to help others, really.
Definitely.
Because the misdiagnosis is crazy too. Like we were talking about bipolar before. I was diagnosed as bipolar, put on medication that made things worse.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then, now I'm diagnosed with anxiety. Right. But now that I'm trickling things back and again, educating myself on things, the anxiety is more so linked to the ADHD than anything else because I'm overthinking.
Right. Exactly.
Yes.
I wanted to share, Sierra had a point, like that's what parents step in and sue because unfortunately the parents need to know how. And that's why, there should be more parent support groups, but it is hard. And I think too, when it comes to like IEPs and assessments and stuff, like once you start, like that's not going to be done in a week. Like you got to find a good place. Usually it take maybe even 3 months to get in there. Then you test, which could take a very, very long time. Then you got to wait for the results. Then you got to test stuff out after you get the results to see what worked. And it's a very lengthy process that everyone has to be committed to. The kid, the parent, other people support, the teachers. And I think it made me feel like, are they pushing back? Because once there's an IEP and 504 in place, usually, I'm telling y'all, those documents can be like 100 pages, a 100-page pack. That's how thick they can be. And it's like, okay, so, Johnny needs 5 minutes, a 5-minute break every hour. Johnny needs to walk with somebody. So it's actually telling staff at school that they have to do more than just teach. So I wonder if that's a little pushback from them. And that's why they push back, because they gotta do so much more in their role for each IEP and 504. So I wonder if there's a little pushback about that.
The funding for that is not given in a lot of the places, so they can't have the powers come in like they need to.
They don't have enough staff, right?
Well, even if the funding is there, like you said, there's not enough staff. So I found that even after we got the 504, even after we had these things put in place, I was still getting phone calls every day. He's laying on the floor. He's doing this. He's doing that. Okay, did y'all give him a break like y'all supposed to? Y'all have a trampoline in the counselor's office. Did you let him go jump on the trampoline and give him a break? Oh, you didn't? Why are you calling me?
Yeah.
No, it's not even only doing that aspect of it. It's also making sure that they follow through with it, which is like systemically like.
I know, and I'm saying because one of my kids, she was behavioral, but she was bipolar that fully transitioned into, because bipolar at a certain point, at a certain age, so right at 17, she transitioned into schizophrenia. We were still trying to get her to school credit. It's one of my favorite kids. I love her. Like, everybody, like, when they used to pick her up, they used to take the cage car and put her in the back, and she was right depressing with me, and we would just bounce to the music, and everybody's like, I'm so scared of her. I'm like, leave my kid alone. So anyway, she was a hot mess because she was schizophrenic. So part of her IEP and all that was, she can't be around men alone, because trust me, that was right. But you could just see the attitude on the staff face, like, ugh, we gotta do all this shit. So, and it's like, what are you here for? A paycheck? Because y'all don't get paid like that.
No,
y'all don't get paid like that.
Because I'm always like I try to look at the full picture. I don't know, but yeah, they're humans. They're humans, and they might have signed up for this and had great zeal. And then when they meet 10 of those kids, their ass is beat. Okay, and they are tired emotionally.
Oh,
they're
definitely.
And all of that. And so yeah, you might see their faces like, because they're human and they get to have feelings too. But I think it does go back to like even what Ciara said, schools have to be on board. They have to be on board.
Yeah.
But the government has to be on board. So now when we got to put them on board, we know what board that is.
What timeline that is.
Because they have to fund. We have to get the extra people in the schools to help these children. Now, we could ask, did you put him on a trampoline? But if she got 20 other children, who's leaving those 19 kids to take them to the trampoline? So that's right. We can say, for that specifically, but because they're coming to work with what they're given, they have to figure that out too. And I'm only talking to, I guess we're talking like to both sides of the coin. I'm only talking to like that yellow with the the pushback part, because if we were in the schools, we would definitely probably be dealing with that part of it. Like, I want to take them to the trampoline, but I can't leave the other kids right now. I don't know what to do. I have to keep them here. Okay, now he's laying on the floor. I know I should have took him to the trampoline 20 minutes ago, but I just could not do it. Mm-hmm. Now I do have to call her because now he's or whatever it is. I can see that side of it too. But, as people who pay taxes, we have to look into the government part of it too, which is a bigger, a longer fight than just saying, don't call me. Don't call me no more. Because the parents, because I just was telling this to my friend the other day. I will never forget this, because my mother used to take me to school, and it'd be like, my stomach hurt. Well, let it hurt at school. I don't know, your stomach don't hurt, because it really didn't. Because you know your kids, right? And I tried it to the point where they sent me to the nurse office, and the nurse called her, and she said, "Oh, I'm just waiting for her dad to come and pick me up so we can pick her up." She was lying. She was not coming because she know my stomach was not hurting. Okay, so finally the school day ended, and my mother said, "You can try that if you want to, but I'm never coming to pick you up, and you're not sick. If you're sick, I know you're sick before I take you to school." But when it came to getting like the teacher, she had 35, 40 people in the, she's like, "Oh, go to the nurse office and call her mother. Go, send her to the nurse office. Call." I'm like, "Oh, my stomach hurt. I can't. Go send her to call her mother. Call her." And
I had a conversation with the school about that too. I said, y'all are giving him what he wants, and he is, because especially being as smart as he is manipulating y'all.
Yeah.
Into getting exactly what he, because he want to go home.
But they know that too. They deal with kids all day too, and they know that too. I don't know. I just feel like they some of the teachers specifically. I'm not talking about the administrator. The principals and all that. They are between a rock and a hard place.
Oh yeah. I'll say let me advocate for the teachers right quick, because a lot of teacher content pops up a lot. And a lot of the teachers are complaining about that. First of all, a lot of people are going into the education field to be a teacher. And and I don't got full stats right now, but the conversation being had is a lot of people are stopping their first year in at this point. They are tired and they are done. Even the good teachers are fighting the battle with the school, because they're like, okay, I got to kick you out because clearly I got 30 other students, and you're the one that's causing it. And then the kid come right back 5 minutes later with chips and soda, his admin, and it's like, what the hell are we supposed to do? And how am I supposed to teach? You know what I mean? So yeah, shout out to it's really it's so intersecting. So many people are involved, and we all just need to get it together at this point.
Yeah.
But to point what you were saying, Yellow, too, as far as like that kid and you built that bond, you built that relationship with it. I think that plays a role too, as far as having the right people for the right things. So in my profession, so I'm a dietitian. So coincidentally enough, like 90% of my clientele, it's not coincidentally, 90% of my clientele are Black women. Why? Because they feel comfortable with me giving them advice on food, because I'm not going to say, oh, just eat. I literally had somebody tell me, oh, I thought you were just going to tell me to eat cottage cheese and celery all day. No. And so like having that be like, no, we just need to eat some more vegetables. That could be cabbage. That could be collard greens. That could be get them vegetables in, right? So having somebody who understands your background as well. Yes. And seeing, especially for kids, seeing that, identifying yourself into somebody else, that can feel like it's just a safe place.
No, that's a fact. And I want to share, Shanae shared, and I didn't even know that, girl. As someone who works in HR at a school district, the turnaround is crazy. A lot of people, I think most of us go into something positive, happy, ready to change the world, make a difference, and then something just happens, whether it's on your side, their side, whatever. And like a lot of these people are excited, young people, people of color, representation, beautiful. In their first year, they're like, yeah, what the hell is this?
What the hell?
What's my goddamn time? Because they're done.
And especially for something that you have to go to school for.
We're not even talking about like actual like the videos of kids putting their hands on teachers. We're just talking about the simple stuff right now of just they're going through something, so they may be struggling at school because of something at home. So there's so many aspects to it, but teachers are, and it's like, what do we do? Like, what is the answer?
Well, just the financial aspect alone. Like, I can't imagine paying for school. And now I got these student loans possibly that I had to take out to even do this. And now you're telling me I'm going to get paid this? Like, I know after I got out of school, like, they give you the ideas of, salary range, what you think you're going to get. And then what I got, I was like, huh?
Yeah.
Right.
You
like,
giving me what? How am I ever going to pay this off?
2 years to pay y'all back. Free. Like, I got to eat. I got to live. I'm a human. Like, what do you want from me?
Right.
Like, seriously.
So I always say too, like, shout out to the teachers, because it could never be me. Like, I'm just being honest. It would never be me. Oh my goodness. I've got my own children that drive me crazy. So shout out to y'all. But luckily I was blessed enough to be able to be in a position to work from home and homeschool. That's not the realistic situation for everybody. And so, as far as advocating, that would be, the best advice. Working with people. If people don't listen, I almost went to the news station, to the local news station, was like, look, because we got the American Disability Act. These are disabilities that they are protected. So I forgot who it was. I think it was, I don't remember who it was in the chat earlier that said it's the law. You have a legal right to that. Now, is that going to be hard to push forward? Is it going to take time to actually get that? Absolutely. But it's a battle. And about these kids, we don't play.
Yeah, it could take years, but you got to do it. Yeah, you might start when your child's in second grade and finally get the services you need when they're in fifth, but better have them than not. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does take a long time for a lot of the children, even when there's people along the way who want to help. Their hands get tied too. That including the teachers, including the child psychologists, including all of those different people, but you can get it done. Gotta continue to fight. Because they don't belong to you forever. So you gotta fight the fight anyway, That's
a fact. And everything going on right now, like we just all just like, what can we do? Try our best. It's our future's scary. They say the kids are the future, but you don't care about the kids. So I'm just like, so you don't care about our future, and everything is just like, oh my God, like. Yeah. And I think about life on that level. Like I be stressing about a kid getting essayed in Africa. Like that's how big I'm so empathetic. Like, so when it comes to this mental health stuff, like I just feel everything. Like, and it's like, how do we fix this? Why is this happening? Why is it so hard? Like, why is this so hard of a discussion? of why people are hungry and homeless and stuff like that, and I just don't understand. So we all got to play our part, but we can only do so much, you know what I mean? And then it's like, then you got to consider what state, what county, because everybody functions so differently. Like I promise you, working on the back end when you actually have to communicate with another state or county, you really side-eye people to be like, huh? Why y'all doing that? Who told y'all can do that? Why do y'all think that that's okay to do? You know what I mean? So, like, I had to pick up a kid that ran away to Missouri one time. You know, the officers brought her with zip ties on her wrist, like, cutting off her circulation. Like, it's just how do we handle life? I would never do that to a kid. When I was in California as a social worker still, we have kids from other counties. We find them as a runaway. We would help them. Another county got my kid. Hey, it's 4:00, but you got to come 3 hours away and pick him up right now. If you don't house that kid, I'll be there in the morning. Because when your kid run away, they gonna have everything they need over here.
Right.
Sarah just made a good point in the chat too.
Every county functions differently to create barriers for that.
Yeah.
Sierra made a good point in the chat. Like, we have the Department of Education for federal funding and all that, but this administration's wanting to get rid of it. So
Exactly.
that's even crazier as far as, like, it's already hard with that. And so now if that goes away, it's going to be just another wall, you know, hard stop as far as getting services, getting things done that the schools actually need.
Yeah, and let's just talk about how the pandemic and mental health, the mental health of everybody being at home, the mental health of these kids and their education messing up. The pandemic robbed Debra of her graduation. Literally, she graduated and didn't really.
I don't care though.
They were all
like
big
big celebrations.
Even those children who were graduating, my little sister who's 23 now, that was her high school graduation. She didn't want to go to prom anyway, but she didn't get to walk on her graduation. She had to do it over Zoom. So even that, yeah, the mental
that whole fiasco of
education helping
you guys, yeah, go in the background, and it's just you really just see the inside of people's homes and how are they living, and then now you understand why they're acting like that at school. But then it's like, again, you're as a teacher, you can only do so much. So I don't know, systematic stuff is always hard because even if everybody right now decided to do right, it would still take a couple of years to fix everything. It really would. And what do we do in the meantime between that? My brother didn't even walk either. I graduated, same thing. Yeah, see?
Yep. It's not easy. So how do we coming back to handling our health, our mental health, and how we're taking in things, that's including our food and that's including our mindset. How can we help ourselves?
And yeah, I guess a good question to start with is everybody in the chat, like, how are you already taking care of yourself? Like, how are you, like, what do you do when you have a rough day? What are you doing to feed your soul? What are you doing to feed your body? What nutrients are you adding? What exercises are you doing? What hobbies are you doing? How are you, I'm not, ever. Well, we gonna figure out something, girl. And I'm just a big advocate for self-care. And I also feel like you need as many tools as you can get because this tool worked for this situation on this day. I love gaming, but gaming ain't gonna help me if I'm somewhere else because I don't have my system. So you need different tools for different things. So how is everybody taking care of yourself? Mo, what do you do? And then Debra, you can share what you do. And then chat, you share what y'all do.
For me, I'm big on perspective because Amber said I'm not. But we as friends on Instagram, and I see you cooking that good food, okay? So you be pouring into you and your children, and y'all eat good food, and that's a way to care for yourself. That's one. For me, what I do take my alone time, but I also am very intentional about creating a plan. And I know a lot of people kind of push back from planning stuff because they like that's the first thing they say. You make a plan and God laughs. No, he also likes a good steward of the things that he's giving them. You know, he also calls us to that. So I'm very intentional about all of the things that I'm learning about life, and I funnel them into making a realistic as possible plan, and how I just handle my day. to-do list, the things that I know I have to get done, the things that I want to get done, the things that I probably won't get a chance to get done, I still write it down to make that happen for myself, because I have to, as I was a big daydreamer as a child, I still have big visions of things. So I can see things on a very macro scale,
Right.
you know, and I'm able to bite size them really well. So that is something that I do. Now that takes a certain discipline. That takes a certain person who focuses a certain way. And even though I have ADHD, I found that I feel more able to do it that way and follow things. Or it might because I have ADHD, I'm able to write it down, make a plan, and move forward. And that helps with my confidence, my self-esteem, because when I write something down, I see that I did it and I can check it off. And then I don't have the space to say to myself, I never get things done that I want to do, because I was doing that before I used to write things down. So my self-esteem and my confidence is higher within myself. So those are the things that I use. And then when it comes to nutrition, I meal plan and I meal prep.
Sorry, if y'all are not in Mo's Discord, please go join. Debra, I don't think you're there, so you should join too. It is free. It's amazing. We do a couple of us. Okay, I ain't gonna lie, I've been slacking. I've been slacking on a lot of stuff, y'all. Give me grace, okay? The word of the day is grace for me from y'all, okay? But we post our meals in there, and they really do be healthy. We post our workouts in there and stuff. So if y'all are not in her Discord, please click on there and join. We are actually very active in there, and we are constantly motivating each other and just showing each other different ideas on how to eat too. So I just wanted to plug you in right quick. Sorry.
Thank you. But so yeah, those are the things that I do for my mental. I really just organize myself the best I can. Write a list for one thing, and it's going to get you through your day. You know, and it's going to make you want to do it again. It builds my confidence that I accomplish those things. And then I do go ahead and make a meal plan and a meal prep. You know, for me, spiritually, I do take time to listen to the word. And the thing that I have found most, because I do think my love language is quality time, but it is really quality. I do not let myself spend quantitative amount of time with a bunch of people doing a bunch of things. Because when I do some one-on-one time with people, it really builds me up. It enriches me. I can hang out with somebody who I really feel safe with and comfortable with. First and foremost, he's my dad, because we're going to hang out once a week or so, and he's going to cook something good. It's going to be lamb. You know, it's going to be lamb, and we're going to eat it. It's going to be good. And for the rest of the week, not that I don't love nobody else, but I could just not talk to nobody else until I talk to them again, because the quality is so rich, and the time we spend is so rich. So those are the ways that I'm taking care of myself. And then also doing stuff that's hard and accomplishing. Whether I get an A in class or a C, I passed. I got it done. I'm doing stuff that's hard and not giving up on a daily basis. When I get the homework problem wrong, I erase it and start over. I'm pushing myself. So those are the things. They don't seem that easy because they aren't all the time, and they are action. But that's the way that I find that I work on my health, my mental health, is to be in action in ways that are productive.
No, thank you. No, absolutely, Mo. Like, the quality time it's very serious. Like, me and my husband talk about that a lot. Like, my husband, like, at some point I'd be wondering why my phone is even on. Like, why am I paying the cell phone bill? Because what are we doing here? Like, I don't go nowhere. I'm all Wi-Fi half the time, and even when I'm in public, it don't even work. But that quality is very important because, you know, when people do, I see it as this, and I could be wrong. This is just my reality. But, like, when we start talking every single day, then it just starts becoming negative and complaining, and I don't want none of that shit. And that's what I said. I always appreciate me and Debra, people that respect my space. A lot of my friends for a very long time know I may dip off for a year, but I'm going to pop back in. But it was going to be like we never left. I just saw one of my friends in Vegas, and I got to stay, and she let me stay at her house and take a towel from her house because we went to go work out at Orange Theory afterwards. I still got it out with me. And it's like that quality, because they know you're such a good person. You're not draining your friends. You shouldn't be draining the people you care about of their time, resources, and energy. When you connect, it should be a positive conversation. And that's what I love about the people that I have in my life right now. Even all you new people, connecting and building a rapport so we can get closer, because everybody's positive. We're all working on something. There's always a topic to talk about. We're not just complaining. We're not sitting and just sitting in our sorrows. You know what I mean? So I am grateful for all you guys for that, because I'm not into the shenanigans now. Do I complain? Yes. Do I talk shit? Yes. Do I talk about stuff? Of course. But and maybe I don't even look like a positive person because I'm cussing and stuff. But I am a very positive person. If you really truly talk to me enough to know, like, so I'm always trying to focus on what's positive. What are we working on? Where are we at with our goals? Where do we need to reset? Because we are responsible for our own life. And at a certain point, you have to believe yourself of where you're at. You know what I mean? So I'm just always trying to work on what's next for me, and allowing that space to have good people in my life, because after a while you just get tired of being around all the shenanigans, and I'm always saying quality over quantity. You know, I was talking to Mo about the social media stuff. I'm okay if I don't ever get 1 million followers. I'd rather have this 4,500 I got right now and have these dope people with me than to have 1 million followers and you get on and you got 2 people on your live not supporting you. You know what I mean? So you gotta think about quality over quantity when it comes to many aspects of your life. Debra, how are you taking care of yourself? And Debra's pregnant right now, for those who don't know, so that's a little extra caring that she's doing right now. She's caring and growing and all the good stuff.
No, so I agree with a lot of what the chat said to what Mo said. It's funny because I'm like, I wonder if that is an ADHD thing, and like kind of almost even like a trauma response behind that, because when it has to do with like stress or anxiety, I am making a list. I am an iPad planner girly. I have multiple tabs in my good notes and I track things, and that helps me mentally be clear, and it helps with my stress because I'm on top of it. Right? So definitely that. All the list, all the plans. All the list, all the plans. That, and then also to what Sierra was saying in the chat. So a couple things, and then a little bit of science behind it, because I have to, because it's just what I love and it's my passion. But exercise. So depending on how the day was, like sometimes it's just moving your body and doing something that is fun. And that's what a lot of people like equate exercise to not being fun. But if you have not seen it yet, trap cardio on YouTube is probably my favorite thing to do, because I will shake this butt and I will act a whole fool while getting a workout in. Absolutely. And it actually, so when you are moving your body, when you are exercising, it sends endorphins, which are the happy hormones, to your brain. So even if you are not genuinely happy that day, you feel a little bit better.
Yeah.
And that's why usually too, like after a really good workout, you have like what people call a runner's high, or you have that like boost of like, oh, I can take on the world now. Even if it's not genuine, sometimes you got to fake it till you make it. Absolutely. So getting that movement in helps so much, no matter what kind of movement it is. It's been a lot of pregnancy yoga lately, so that feels good on my back. And then as far as nutrition goes, you know, some of the basis is between like different foods that help boost your happy hormones too. So antioxidants, ACE, vitamins, right? So berries and lots of vibrant colored vegetables and fruits. Those are going to help boost your mental health. Vitamin D. Sometimes just getting out and actually getting some sunshine. There's not a lot of food.
Both of them, you heard?
No, vitamin D is the main cause behind seasonal depression. Like, that's why a lot of people, when you're not getting a lot of sun in the winter, what are you doing? I don't even know what you're doing.
You said vitamin D. I said both of them.
Oh, period. Absolutely. And look,
Because I don't.
if we're being honest, that's how I got in this situation. But no, there's not a lot of food sources that have like vitamin D in it. It's either like dairy products or mushrooms, and a lot of people like mushrooms. So get outside, get some sunlight.
Some mushrooms.
Yeah, create
I love
vitamin D.
mushrooms. My husband don't eat them though.
Yeah. But so that, and then my favorite is protein. There's so many reasons for why I'm obsessed with protein. That's why the world is now finally obsessed with protein. I've been on protein.
And just to plug in right quick, 2 weeks from now, we will be talking about protein with GP again. So clock that and stop in, because protein is another big topic.
Absolutely.
To touch.
So Protein is great for so many different reasons. It keeps you full, it keeps you satisfied. I'm building a baby, so I kind of need it to build, stuff. But as it relates to mental health, protein is awesome because especially foods that are high in tyrosine, which is a specific amino acid, so it's going to be really high in things like turkey, meats, animal proteins. So that tyrosine is a precursor to your happy hormones. Mm-hmm. So if you do not have enough tyrosine, you're not creating enough happy hormones, and that can also lead to depression. I also used to work in mental health as a dietitian too, so just FYI there. That's where a lot of this is coming from. But yeah, so getting your protein in and getting good quality sources of that protein is going to help benefit you on a mental health standpoint, hormonally.
No, thank you, Debra. No, that's absolutely true. And I wanted to share with Sierra, which, I'm glad that she kind of mentioned part of it before bed, because there's certain things for certain things, right? There's stuff that you can do in the morning, and there's definitely stuff that I need to do better at night, especially stretching. And she said stretch, journal, Bible, phone up at 9:30. Mm-hmm. And shoot, that's Mo and Debra. Look, if I text y'all, trust me, I'm not expecting to text back right away. I could be texting folks, knowing how people be knocked out.
Yeah.
So if you can text
me, I'll be like, don't worry about it. It's like 5 in the morning, like, hey girl, yeah, blah blah blah, because I ain't see that.
Hey, Sheena girl, no, exactly. And then, but no, I think that's a great point that she just mentioned bedtime, because I think there is certain things that will actually benefit your day if you do it in the morning, stuff that you can do in the middle of the day, stuff that you could do at night. Like, there's never a wrong time. So whatever schedule works for you. Me, I just do a whole bunch of stuff. One, my husband, we just like best friends, so we always doing something together. We work out at Orange Theory. We're so committed. We drive 40 minutes to the gym every time. So every time we go to the gym, it's a 3-hour situation. 40 minutes to get there, hour at the gym, 40 minutes to drive back, and we probably stop somewhere to get something to eat that we probably shouldn't be eating. Mm-hmm. Overall, we do eat healthy though. And I do cook a lot, so feeding my body, now, I don't know. I eat what I eat at this point, but I do eat pretty healthy. I call my plates like struggle plates. It just tastes good. It gets the job done. That's why I don't really be posting like online like that. My meals, all those plates. If I ever post my plates on social media, that's my husband's plate, not mine. Those plates are cute, not mine. Never knows I will make a burger with cheese, just the patty with cheese, and then have some peas and carrots on the side, and I'm a happy camper with some mustard. Who else is eating that? Nobody. Nobody wants to see that. So
girl dinner, I'll eat that too. Girl dinner.
Right. Well, I love it. So, but yeah, I definitely eat healthy, and I definitely love to work out. But like small stuff is, I love shockingly, when my husband is at work, the house is actually pretty quiet. I know you probably don't believe me, but the house is very quiet. I love my solitude sometimes, and I love gaming. I love self-care, bubble bath. Dr. Till is bestie. I need a Dr. Till sponsor this year, okay? I will be in a bubble bath for hours. I will take bubble baths multiple times a day. Bubble baths are truly amazing. And because I also work out, it helps with the mental and the physical aspect, because my body really do be hurting. And after that bubble bath, I feel like a whole brand new person. I love skincare. I love a mask, especially my husband like doing it with me. So sometimes I'll get us both something and we just sit and relax to just like refresh ourselves. Prayer to God will always uplift me as well. I talk to that man all day. I think he's tired of hearing me say thank you at this point. Because thank you for everything, okay? Thank you down to the dirty dishes and the trash. Because I wouldn't even have trash if I didn't have anything. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I just do a lot of different stuff. Now, I can share from my personal experience and which made my mental health better. I used to smoke and drink. Big drinker. Jackson, truly some functioning alcoholics around here, okay? Like, we love to drink. And then I smoked cigarettes. I quit smoking cigarettes on 10/10/2021 for my husband, cold turkey. And then after a little while, probably within that next year, I cut back on drinking. I still drink. I can still very much drink heavily. But it's so amazing to have a personal choice to be like, oh, I don't really need that. I don't even have alcohol in the house anymore. So all that impacted my mental health. Because the thing is, when I even talk about kids with self-care tools, I have to highly and loudly incorporate the word healthy. Because then their self-care tools start being all kind of shit that they doing. You know what I mean? Everything can be self-care, but it got to be healthy self-care. Because
alcohol is a depressant too, so alcohol makes it worse.
Right. But people perspective thinking it is a self-care. Their brain is like, this is helping me, and it's not. So, take care of yourself and choose healthy. So anybody else in the chat, how are you taking care of yourself? I know, gratitude is this girl. Amen. I be thinking of it every day. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Yeah, that night routine. But yeah.
She does what makes her happy. And that's a big thing too. Sometimes we don't give ourselves permission to do that. She said, I do what makes me happy, whether it's a walk, working out, shopping, etc. Sometimes we guilt ourselves into saying, oh, we can't do things like that. We have to do, rigid or, things like that. And no, it's like, you know what? I'm having a moment right now. I'm gonna take a walk. And it could be cold outside. It could be
I appreciate the walk.
I'm gonna go to the store and I'm gonna check out some outfits. I'm gonna try on some outfits. That's okay too. That you can get to enjoy the life that's there for you to live. You know what I'm saying?
And I appreciate Sheena like saying the walking part, because one, even with health in general, a 30-minute walk is so beneficial. Even just a 15-minute walk outside with the sun beaming on you can do powers. And not every self-care thing, you can have some expensive ones, like, because if I can afford it, I love a good spa day. Let me go get an actual massage and an actual facial. But you need those small things in the house. Like, get different things. You may not always have the money to do the big things. You may not be in an area where this even exists for you to do it. I got to understand that we may be somewhere where there's not an Orange Theory, so I may need to just, take that walk outside instead for free for a couple minutes. So it's kind of like different things for different people, and what can you afford? And walking in general is just so beneficial to just clear your mind. And again, it's an exercise in a sense. Walking can be powerful. You don't got to just start full off running. We start off somewhere. And then my husband said traveling, which of course we love traveling. That definitely fills our cup up. But, that looks different for everybody. We drive. We'll drive 3 hours away somewhere just to go see somewhere new. We cruise, we fly. So, travel part, whatever works for y'all.
Yeah, I like to stay at home, but that's the bottom line is like just vegging out. You could travel and veg out and it feels good. So, like staying home and vegging out, it feels good to me too, So,
yeah.
I love
those weekends like, oh my God, this weekend was so amazing to do nothing. Sometimes nothing is the goal. Sometimes I'm rushing off of work to do nothing.
Yes.
I will say my therapist may not agree with this, but I do dissociate a little bit, just a little bit, right? So sometimes it can be good, sometimes it can be bad, but I love me some anime. I am a nerd. I just found out that the 7th season of My Hero came out, so I've been, watching that, vegging out on that. I did that yesterday. And books.
Thank you, Sierra. How was your book? Thank you for stopping by.
And be so lost in there that I'm in a different world. And that makes me happy. I just want to be somewhere else for just a little bit.
Yes. Yes. Now, yes, I'm big on, okay, maybe I don't want to say it like that because it's not like personality disorder kind of way, but I would disassociate quick. Listen, y'all.
No. I am completely somewhere else up here. That's the air sign too, though. That's that air sign.
Most of the time.
Welcome to get. I don't do none of those stuff. Something. I don't even drink. I drink ginger ale with y'all.
No, and that's the thing too. We all enjoy different things. I feel bad for my husband sometimes because he don't do anything. And then people, or I guess people that don't drink and smoke, because then people will treat you guys like you're the weirdo. Like, you don't.
And that's fine. I'll be weird, but I'll
consume tobacco and alcohol in your body. Like, yeah, let it be cool.
Societal norms are crazy.
How's that helping you? What you want me to do? How's that helping you?
I tell people too, societal norms, and this is up my alley too. Big back culture, I will say. So Mo, when you were mentioning earlier, you were like, "Oh, eat some good food." So in my perspective, my background, I'm thinking that could look completely different for somebody because good food to them could be 3 bags of seafood boils and 2 liters of soda or whatever the case may be, but nourishing food.
Nourishing food. That's what
nourishing food is what we need to look for because that can kind of go the wrong way. It's like when we started the conversation as far as using different types of food as coping mechanisms. And if we're doing that, especially too frequently, because moderation is always key in my book.
Yeah.
If we're doing that too frequently, now we have another problem, and now we have health issues, and now we have type 2 diabetes, and now we have obesity, and now we have, cholesterol's high, and we on medications now for that. And those medications cause side effects. So it can cascade and get out of control. So also going back to the conversation of healthy coping mechanisms.
A part of that is as we just navigate through life, who talks to themselves? Because I know me and me be conversing. Okay? And I think, Mo talks about this a lot, but I think we just need to also transition on how we talk to ourselves, especially on those days that aren't as easy. You know what I mean? And I am very I can get a little mean to myself sometimes because it's like, what are you doing? I have such high expectations for myself.
Yeah, don't play that. Don't talk to my friend like that. Be nice to my friend. Thank you. Thank you, Yella. Be nice to my friend.
Right, and we have to check ourselves. And I actually am proud. I am good with that. Even when, all I gotta know, I know when I'm having a bad day, I just gotta go to Walmart and see how fast I get irritated. I gotta go to Walmart. And if I'm irritated within 2 seconds of being in there, I know, take your ass home. And stay away from people, And we have to take care of ourselves. And I do check myself like, okay, what we doing? What we doing? I gotta hype myself up because I really be like.
But the thing is, intentionally or not intentionally too. So back to that big back word, people throw it around culturally like it's so cute nowadays.
Every time we find a word, then people overuse it. It's just
it's canceled in my house. We're not saying that because it's not funny, it's not cute, it's not nice.
It makes me so angry when I hear people say that about themselves. Forget about the fact that it's said at all. Why are you saying? Because I'm about to be a big back. First of all, if that's how you feel, keep that to yourself. Okay.
Words hold so much value.
Big backs together. No, I'm not gonna never be a big back with anybody. Don't talk to me like that. Okay, watch your mouth. If that's what you want to call yourself, I don't even know why. Oh, I can't stand it. I can't stand it.
Words hold so much value, and people don't realize it. But what you speak becomes what you act like, and what you act like becomes who you are. And now you're projecting into your future, even if your back wasn't holding some extra stuff back there.
Exactly.
Down the line, it's going to happen, because you spoke that into existence.
Yeah, it's not necessary. Some things we have to really remind ourselves that we don't get to escape our own mind. Even when we go to sleep, we dream about our subconscious thoughts. We dream about those things. So we can never escape our own mind. Why wouldn't we make that space the most safe space for us to be? And I know that we can't control all of our thoughts. That's just not the way life works. That's just not the way humans think. But we can create such a space that we catch it sooner than later and speak life into whatever it is in that moment. And we can also still have a bad day, but not have to, beat ourselves up.
Right.
Because we're humans. And when we talk about the science of it, there's hormones that we don't have full control over. And they do affect our mood, And yes, we can go take a bike ride or walk or whatever, but sometimes we can't override it, and that's okay too. It's okay, but if you try on a daily basis to create a safe space in your mental, that's for those days. For those days when you really can't control that, there's just something that's trying to take you down. That's for those days specifically, not just for the good days. It's for those really hard days when you really don't have full physiological control over your mood.
Yeah. I was going to ask, so since we kind of talked about talking nice to ourselves, and if people in the chat too, I want everybody to comment because I really want, this is like a practice, like a little homework for you right now. So please listen. Looking back at yourself, and I think you might have asked this before, but I love this question because I know I would tell myself 1,000 things. Knowing yourself now, your mental health, knowing your history, knowing how everything panned out, looking back at yourself, just say, teen years, whatever years are important to you. What are a couple things you would tell yourself? Like for mental health wise, like what is there a couple pieces of advice that you would give your teenage self? So please share in the chat, everybody, a couple pieces of advice that you would share with your teenage self regarding mental health and taking care of yourself. Debra, you could go, Mo, you could go, and then I'll share the chat. Please write as we are talking. A couple.
So I thought about this a lot before. And the most simple way to break it down, and we actually touched on this earlier, is quality over quantity in every aspect of life.
I always said I'd rather have 4 quarters than 100 pennies. I always said I'd rather have 4 quarters than 100 pennies.
Period. And because I've gone into deep conversations and everything, and it always sums down to quality over quantity.
Yep.
Especially because I was trying to be too poppin', too out there. I was wild when I was younger. And that's the same advice I give my daughter now. Why are you worried about these folks? They're not going to be there with you when you taking that test to get into the nursing program. No, they're not doing that. Quality over quantity.
I love that. No, it's literally every aspect of your life. I've always felt that way. Mo?
What would I tell my teenage self?
At any age, whatever is important to you, because everybody has different parts of their life. So I don't want to say an age, but just teenage years.
About my how I talk to myself.
Or just in general, just what would you tell you? Like you know what was happening at that time. You know how your life panned out to this moment. What would you tell yourself? Like for mental health, how to take care of yourself, how to overcome. Just a word of advice.
I don't think that the stuff that we're telling ourselves now is any different than the stuff that we should have been telling ourselves when we were younger. So I would tell myself the same things as now, and I don't know if it seems like, I don't want to use the word morbid because that's not what I mean, but a little bit kind of like I probably lean to a little bit towards stoicism as an adult now, because I feel like my life experiences show me that you don't have control over when tough things happen, and you can't let those things break you if you want to be here. If you want to be happy, if you want to be here and you want to enjoy being here, you can't let those things break you, and you have to do the best healthy things that you can to overcome. So I think the same things that I tell myself every day, the little things turn into big things. They turn into the full picture. So yeah, I would just tell myself, speak to myself, be graceful and be patient and be kind to myself, because though there's a lot of things we experienced that we didn't bring on ourselves, we still do have to find the energy and find the regroup and the reset to get ourselves back on track and move forward. So I think that's something, because I definitely, when I was younger, I definitely had victim mentality because I was a victim of stuff I couldn't control. I lost my mom at 12. When I was in my 20s, I was pregnant with twins and I lost them. So there was nothing I could do about it. I didn't have controls over certain things that were pretty heavy. And I wasn't putting myself in those situations. You know what I'm saying? But I still had to come back for them if I wanted to have a happy life. So that's something that it might be a little bit of stoicism, but you gotta keep pushing forward, and you gotta know that the rest of your life, you can make the rest of your life the best of your life. There's gonna be a turnover, and it doesn't mean that bad things are not gonna still happen in the future, because that's a part of life too. But it does mean that you're gonna be able to handle them better and better and better and better as the years go. I think that's.
I love that. And this is not a celebrity thing, but just using celebrities like celebrities. Oh, how was I going with that? Oh, somebody had a video the other day. It was like, this person didn't start their career until they were like 39. They didn't get their first role until they were 45. So it's just a sense of like, there's always time for us to make that shift if we're open and willing to. And sometimes we just didn't even know that was an option because of where we grew up. Like even social media now, like I don't even have a full plan because like I'm just even learning what my options are to see what I can do and how far I can go now. But just in general, I think sometimes depending on how you grew up, you just didn't truly know what certain options you had and choices. So,
and I want to say one last. I'm sorry, but it just me. I should be able to verbalize it this way. Don't create things that you are afraid that are going to be like your outcome. You don't know the future. There's so many things that I have experienced that as a younger person, I never want to experience it. I never want to go through that. I never want to go through that. And I experienced them. And when they happened, in the moment, I felt so deeply traumatized because like, oh my God, it's happening to me. And I would tell my younger self not to worry about stuff in that way. You can't avoid life experiences. You can't avoid good and bad. So not to pick and choose the bad ones that you really don't want, because that's what be traumatizing us. You know what I'm saying? I always say I don't want to not have kids after a certain age. I'm 40. I don't have children, and I don't have prospective, a husband. I don't know what's going to happen. And that thought of that traumatized me in my early 20s. And when I lost my twin, it made me extra traumatized around that. Like, oh my God, is that going to be my story around having children? It might be.
Right.
It might be. But at this time, I'm able to let go in those things. I share them because I'm able to let go in those things. But when I was younger, I if I could talk to myself, I would tell myself all those things that you saying, hey, I really don't want to experience that. I really, really don't want to experience, like, let that go, sis, because we don't get to pick and choose. Just let it go and live your life and focus on the things you want for yourself. So that,
or even focusing on the stuff that you want for yourself too. I, from a different like perspective, but similar, had my life mapped out.
huh.
I was like, oh, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. It's funny because I see my daughter do the same thing, and now like being older, I'm like, oh, okay. We'll see. But had it all mapped out and being okay if it doesn't go the way that you planned it, because it may just be much better than you could have ever imagined.
Exactly.
Because some hard goals and things that you make sure you want to check off and have direction. Yes. But not every single step needs to be
exactly. Just imagine mapping out your life at 19. That's insane. You don't know nothing about life. What are you mapping? You've never been here before. You have no point of reference. So yeah, knowing that if you did think you were gonna map it out, baby, please, because you don't even know that. You know what could happen if you leave your job for nothing. You could get, you know what I'm saying? You don't know those things. So. Yes.
Oh, that's absolutely right. We can't predict the future as much as we want to. We do play a big part of it. And I think manifesting and having some kind of a vision is amazing. But, we have to be okay when it just may look a little different than we originally thought. I do want to share. Thank you for sharing, Shadi. I would tell myself, don't hold the hurt. Don't hold it in. It's a verbalize. I've been working on that. And that's true. How many of us bottle stuff up? That is so normal. Half the time when I'm crying, I can't even tell you why. It could be for something yesterday or 3 years ago or 20 years ago. Sometimes it just be that kind of day. And we just have to let it out because we just bottle everything up. And then when you explode, you're just like, you better hope you don't explode too bad where something happens and then you literally jeopardize your whole future or well-being. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel like the upside of being
coming in, girl.
I feel like the upside when for me personally of the stoicism. I don't know if I know another term for it, but I think I a little bit stoicism. The upside for me is like when I cried, that'd be the most of it because I'm really big on figuring out, focusing on what my emotions are, whatever, and it doesn't explode into something else. But yeah, if I feel like I need to cry, I know I need to let it out because something's going on. Whatever it is, I'm letting it out. I'm gonna cry because I don't be crying too much. So for sure, it's good to express yourself and let it out. And
exactly,
especially if you're big on like holding it in, it is good to let out. And crying is okay. Crying is okay. Talking about it is great. You know what I'm saying?
And like and like we talked about movement, like if it's crying or it could like I want to say crying and movement because there's like these things I've been watching of like, you know, opening up your hips and there's these people doing these exercises and next thing you know they're breaking down.
Yeah.
Your hip like supposedly like holds so much
chakras.
And then like there's this one lady that does like athletes, you gotta pay her a lot of money and travel to her, but she'll like sculpt your body and she's like literally like supposedly like rubbing the trauma out of your body and people just feel so much better. So it's just crazy. Everything truly intersects with each other. Your mind, your body, your soul, like your spirits, everything connects with each other. I know I would tell myself that, you know, like you're not alone. I always felt alone and it's like, and then I handled life alone. So even though it was great and I was strong enough and I got through it, I think I made my life a little bit harder than it needed to be because I'm like, I didn't ask for help. And I was so proud of myself for that because I was the one person not asking for help. I was the one person not constantly moving into people's houses, asking for money, having to pay you back, asking for a ride. I literally, one time I walked 3 hours to my car to pick it up because I couldn't get a ride. You know what I mean? And it's just, you have to figure it out. So I wish I would tell myself it's okay to ask for help. And I did when the time was right for certain things, even the small stuff. I just felt like and I still feel like that. My husband be like, sit your ass down. Sit your
Hyper
ass
independence is real. Hyper independence.
Right. And so transitioning into the soft life with him, it really opened my eyes because I'm like, oh my God. But I I call it graduating from survival mode because I felt like I couldn't lose. All my T's had to be crossed. All my I's had to be dotted. Like I could not afford to make one mistake in this life because all I had was me and the couple dollars I made from the job that I worked. I did everything right. I didn't steal from nobody, no scamming, no hurting, no robbing, no nothing. Everything I got, I earned. And I think I don't regret it because I'm here and I was strong enough, but I definitely look back and I'm like, bitch, you made your journey a lot harder than it had to be. Yeah. If you would have just relaxed and then seek help. But then you had to be like careful. Like, and I knew who to seek help from when I did, but a lot of people just weren't healthy. It's really sad to say, looking back, that the safest I ever felt was when I was alone. So what does that say about the community that I was in? You know what I mean? When the safest I felt was not around y'all motherfuckers, you know, because y'all ain't got y'all shit together. Y'all just over out here do whatever y'all want. So it's really taking care of yourself. So I would tell myself, like, you're not alone, because it's still hard to ask for help. And then I would tell myself, like, you know, still protect yourself, but I think I really look back and I missed out on a lot of great opportunities and people because I did overprotect myself. So still protect yourself, but like, relax, girl. Everything will be okay. But there was a part of my life where I didn't know if it was going to be okay. I didn't. So I was literally in survival mode. And I look back, sometimes I'm like, you had your shit together. I look back and I'm like, this past year I look back and I was like, oh yeah, you didn't have shit together, girl. That attitude was all over the place. Words were said, energy was given, okay, but I did the best of what I could. I really had to like teach myself, you know, and I had to give myself grace for that, but then also give myself kudos for that, for still trying to figure it out by myself the right way. And again, goes back to my saying, don't let a bad person in a situation make you a bad person. So how do I get out of this? What resources do I have? Who can I call? That's why sometimes I'm a little, you know, on the rough side when it comes to mental health as I'm doing my job, because my mind is, okay, cool, all that happened. What are we doing about it? That's my mindset. What are we doing about it? I get it. Sad, cool, valid. You deserve none of that. But what are we doing about it? That's what, because if you're not going to move, you're going to stay.
Yeah, you're going to be stuck.
And I get it. It may not be tomorrow. It may be a long-term plan. You may need to, you know, these kids that are 16 and got 2 years left till they turn 18, your plan's going to look a little different, baby. You know, but you got to figure out what works for you. You know what I mean? So I think that's what I would tell myself. I think I did great. I don't have a lot of regrets in how I tried, because I did try my best, but I made it a little bit harder than it should have been. So I
And you know what though?
for that.
I just want to give you your flowers though, for real, because especially growing up in the environment that we grew up in, and I don't know if it's just Central California, and I don't know if it's just whatever, but I could say from the same place that we grew up in, very transactional. So it almost makes you that way because if you ask somebody for something, okay, well, what are you going to do for me? What are you going to do in return? And I don't know if that's just our shared experience or if that's common elsewhere, but it speaks volumes of, learning how to get through that in a environment that didn't really foster that. So shout out to you, girl.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Like, we look back, like, because, hood, drug dealers, everybody, and I'm the only one going to school. I'm the only one with a job. And I'm still kicking it because, I know these people. I grew up with them. You got to let those people go. Right. Everybody ain't meant to go with you, okay?
Mm-hmm. Home guarded to stay home guarded.
You know what I mean? So I just really look back and thank God for giving me straight and being there when times when I wasn't talking to him. Times I ain't say thank you. Times that I wasn't grateful, you know what I mean? And just really still showing up and him giving me that strength because we all grew up in a different environment. Like, my husband's a New Yorker. He hates New York. He left the minute he could. But then, you know what I mean? Because when I go out there, and I say it because it really is a different world. New York truly is different. There's a couple cities that can relate just a little bit. Chicago, just a little tiny bit. But, like, some of these places are truly different. So we're all coming from this different background, a different culture, a different family, in a different financial class in the economy. And it's like, how do I navigate through life? And just, try your best and you take care of yourself. And like I said, the word grace that Mo always says, I'd be hard on myself. Like, why would you do that? And why, and it's like, you didn't know. And it's okay that you didn't know. As long as you learn one day, that's all that matters. And one thing I am grateful for, though, because I am cocky at the same time. I'm cocky and insecure at the same time. How does that happen? I don't know. But, like, a lot of my decisions weren't like long going on repeated decisions. Like, I really learned from a lot of my lessons. Maybe a couple of them I had to like bump my head twice, but none of my decisions were like, it's been 10 years since I've been going through this. It's my 20th time. Like, no, it took about 2 times to be like, okay, yeah, no, we're not.
You failed forward.
Yeah. Let me get on out of here. That's a fact. But accountability is different than not showing yourself grace, and that's a good thing. That there's a difference because you do have to be accountable for the thing, like you've been saying, you do have to be accountable for what you put into the situation, but you need to show yourself grace for not knowing how to get out of the situation the first or second time, maybe,
Yeah, because like some of my relations, just say I was in one of abusive relationship. I don't even say words like that. Ask Debra, and I've been through a lot of stuff, and I don't even talk. But some of the stories is crazy. Them niggas is crazy, and when you talk about people being in a bad relationship, like, well, why don't she just leave and leave tomorrow? It's just not that simple. Sometimes you may take a 2-3 year plan very slowly, saving up a little bit of money on this, whatever the case may be. Hey, Janaea! That's our cousin, my husband's cousin, my cousin. And, we have to, some plans, and even with your family, right? The 6-year-old at home that can't leave right now, who have shitty parents in a shitty home, they gotta have a 2-year plan until they can actually legally be out on their own. So that's the grace we got to give to other people too. It's just not just assume that they're there, but they have to move safely. I have had somebody tell me exactly how they would do so-and-so and where they would do it at. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, okay, how do I get out of this? You know what I mean? And still make it out, still a happy person, a good person, a contributing a citizen to society.
Yeah.
Like, you just kind of got to thank God and all that. But we have to put in the work. And we have to, again, that accountability, that grace. And unfortunately, like I said, the hardest thing to hear is, hey, I know this horrible thing happened to you, but you're responsible for healing yourself now. So good luck with that. It's like, what the hell? Hey, dog, love, beautiful. Thank you for the heartbeat. So yeah, it can be tough sometimes.
Yep.
And there's nothing wrong with like even like making the same mistake a couple of times. Like Because it was definitely situations where I was like, girl, you need to get out of that situation. It was definitely a situation where you told me I need to get out of the situation. But sometimes we got our reason. I'm like, no, it's not that bad. Because we be lost in it. And even with, the best of friends helping you out, even with, the best of situations, sometimes we just do have to, unfortunately, learn those lessons in our own time.
Too late, right? Like, I only need to bob my head once or twice to get it, but some people need to be in a whole hospital bed before it be like, oh, and we would love for people.
Everybody has their own rock bottom and what that looks like, and that comes from experiences. It comes from different things that we've learned through life, and I think that's why it is so much harder with children, because they don't have any experiences. They don't have things to pull from, and so they can't see past certain things too, because they are in their, they don't have control over their environment. They can't see past, like, well, I could just, get a job and do this. You're not even old enough to get a job. So they're like, well, how am I really going to get out of this?
Right, exactly. And I mean, honestly, even with good parents, there's some kids in their 30s now. Well, that was kids, but, some parents were great and they were just really strict. And some people in their 30s now, a lot of people are posting this, like, I look back now and my parents were just trying to save me. And that whole time, I just thought they were being a controlling asshole. You know what I mean? It's like, no, your parents actually cared. So that's the opposite end of that. You think, oh my God, they gave me a hard time. I hate my life. And then it's like, oh, they were really just trying to help, because these people out here are crazy. And they don't care about you. You know what I mean? So we have to take care of ourselves. But sometimes you don't get that reflection until years later that it hits. And it's like, oh, that's what that meant.
When that brain finishes forming, because child, I use that one all the time. Your brain ain't even fully formed yet. Let me talk to you in a couple of years.
You're not even congealed. You're not even congealed. It's fine. You're not even congealed. It's fine. And you just do what you want, because you're not congealed. You ain't even got together. It's fine. We'll talk about it later. 26. You're going to be coming back talking about, Ma.
Yeah. I did want to, while we're talking, Dog Mom, how are you taking care of yourself? Dog Mom, if y'all don't know her, she is beautiful. She has beautiful pets. She loves coffee. She's just a vibe, and she's just cute. And I love her house when she be live. I know that sounds weird, but it's just very, like, Debra, it's kind of like you. Y'all like the light colors, everything matching. It is cute. But I know she just went through something personal that I won't share. But how are you taking care of yourself, Dog Mom? Unless you also want to share, that's up to you. But I want to be respectful. But I hope you are taking care of yourself. I guess, shoot, guys, we almost been off for 2.5 hours. Anything else we want to add or talk about, or y'all have a question, or?
No, I love this type of thing. I think it's important for us to do things like this for each other and for ourselves. Because sometimes we have these thoughts and we learn so many things and we figure out so many things, and then we don't see it happening in the rest of the world.
Right.
And we're like, am I the only one who's been thinking about it like that? And, when we sit down and have conversations like this for ourselves, we can feel validated, and other people can feel like, oh, I'm not alone and I'm validated, and trying to be the best me that I can be, So I love stuff like this.
Right. And just to see that different perspective, because me and Mo talked one day, and, Mo lost her mom, who she had a beautiful relationship with at 12. And then my mom, you know what I'm saying? I definitely cried, and I love her, but, a lot of bad decisions. Yeah. Rose taught me what not to do instead of what to do. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, I know not to do that, but now I got to figure out what to do. And so my reality with my parent was completely different. I don't disrespect her or anything, but I don't barely even call her mom, because it wasn't like that. And when she passed, I was very sad. It was COVID. They weren't allowing people at the hospital. I think at some point she needed a charger. So maybe her phone died, but I just stopped hearing from her. Then my sister texted that, at that point, during the surgery for kidney, that she passed. And I cried, but then 2-3 months later, it felt like we were back at our normal state because we weren't talking. So everybody has a different perspective, but I do, as somebody who did have a good relationship with her mother, or any parent, because my dad wasn't around, so when I say I was by myself, truly, my brother and sister family messed with them, they would take me to church as a kid. I would have to sit outside the church while everybody was in the church for the whole ceremony until it was done, and then they would come out, and then I would get back in the car with them to go home. You know what I mean? So it's like when you're growing up in another family that isn't yours, you're just like, well, who am I and where do I belong? I had to do 23andMe to find my dad. And that was back in 2020. And a cousin found me by responding. And then me and her don't even talk because she don't talk to nobody, but she's just like me and I'm okay with that. But it's just like, you got to figure out what works for you and understand everybody comes from a different place. I admire people that have a good relationship with their parents. I'm like, oh, that is so dope. You are so lucky. But then I get upset with you. You know how many people have great parents and they're shitty people and they treat their parents like shit? I'm like, you know how lucky you are that you even have a parent that cares? Like, that's crazy. So we all come from a different place. And I think as long as everybody just try to do better and be better, I think we still have some hope in this world, y'all. But right now, it is a hot mess, you know?
Absolutely.
Well, I think that's it for this week. Debra and Mo, I'm going to have them plug in some stuff because they got a lot of beautiful things going on. And then I'll let y'all know what we got going on Sunday and what's next. So, yeah, Debra.
All right. So I am a registered dietitian, if you didn't know. So I do take on one-on-one clients. So I have my Beacons link in my bio, so you can sign up there. I also just posted my first ebook. It is specifically for GLP-1 medications. So Ozempic, Mounjaro, if you are familiar with those. But I do have like my general health handbook that I'm going to be posting here probably today. And then I have a meal prep ebook that is coming out probably before the end of the week. So that's all you can find in the link in my bio.
Yes. And Mo?
Well, I have what? Okay. You can find me at inspirebig.com. I have my link to in my bio. You can come and join the vast community Discord.
Please, Discord poppin'.
and okay, it's popping because it's a positive place, but I promise you, you're not gonna have a bunch of notifications because we in there, we got stuff to do. But
it's like it's an actual community. Like it's actually positive. It's engaging.
Exactly.
We work out. We have food. We check in with each other. It's beautiful.
Yeah. So I have the VAST community Discord. VAST stands for Vision Building, Accountability, Self-Care, and Time Management. So those are all of the big underlying qualities, the foundation of how I truly believe that my life is able to move forward on an everyday basis, despite whatever happens to us, despite the unfairs and the fairs. And I also have a VAST Method ebook that I created. Yes. I have an apparel line, ABID Apparel. And it's just really some of the more key phrases that I talk about in Inspire Big, Inspire Bigger, and just wrote it down so it could be on my chest. It's in my heart, it's on my chest and on my clothes too. And I will be working on rebuilding out a women's group again, where we meet either weekly or bi-weekly and just, talk about our things and work on our goals. I have vision board seminars that I do quarterly or annually, depending on what's the need. And we get to really piece out our goals and our vision for our life. And so that's what's going on right now. And follow me on my YouTube.
Yes.
Because we building YouTubes over here, okay?
And I was just share, so they both got subscriptions. They're both amazing. Mo is on every morning on Monday and Wednesdays, Motivational Monday, Wellness Wednesdays. Kind of the same discussion we had here. Just
Fun Friday.
She has a beautiful formula. She has these beautiful cards. We have like keywords every time. It's amazing. So please check those out. They're about an hour or two. 9 a.m. on like East Coast time. Sorry, I'm in Wyoming, so I be missing stuff sometimes because I'm early, but everybody knows East Coast. So, but yeah, she does amazing at that. And then definitely Mo will be back at some point with us. And Me and Mo also Sunday are doing a YT grow room. You know, TT may or may not be leaving us. We hope not because I do like it. But if it do, where you finna go, huh? And we all want to get this money somehow. So even if you don't have a YT, make a channel. It's a safe place. We all know what the situation is supposed to be. It's okay if you don't have followers. It's okay you're not posted. It's really just a safe, open space for us to get our numbers. We're going to talk about the requirements. Monetization is easier now. Hey, Celeste Boo. Monetization is easier now. Let's get these subs. Let's get these watch hours. Let's get monetized. So that's going to be Sunday. If you can stop by, I think, what time? I forgot. I forgot what we said. We'll post another flyer though, but I think we said like 2 o'clock, like 3 o'clock New York time.
Yeah, something like that.
We said 3 o'clock New York time for about an hour or two. But yeah, if you don't have one, make one. If you do have one and you're not posted, it's okay. Just show up. Let's just get these numbers, y'all. We're going to be talking about how we got our numbers up. I was at 12 subs on Christmas, and I'm at 632 now. So, and we're still growing. And Mo, she's amazing. Like, she's been doing this for so long, and I know, like, you know, there's different patterns and stuff, but what she's doing is so beautiful, and we just want to be able to create this space so we can all grow together because eventually we all, for those who do want to take it serious, this is a good chance for us to get the numbers that we need because we can't, TikTok's cool, we get money quick here, but the money over there, that's what we want at some point. So please stop by if you want to, we'll post it. For me, I just have this on Thursdays. I was doing Fitness Fridays and stuff, so I don't know, I'm kind of like just figuring out what I want to do moving forward, but I just like vibing. I just like showing y'all what I'm already doing, and I just like supporting other people. So, but I am working on a couple things. So for my subs, a Discord is coming eventually. I'm going to start doing some giveaways. So like, as I'm doing my lives, maybe the giveaway for my subs is in a drawing, and maybe a money gun or a galaxy. So that's coming up too. And yeah, I got a couple things. So check it out. I just appreciate y'all being here. All you guys are important. All you guys matter. And we got to take care of ourselves. And we'll be here next Thursday. Okay, it was supposed to be Desiree. So we got to move Desiree to a different day because her sissy's in town. And I know she's been missing her beautiful family. So I was like, and I remembered, I was like, girl, you still want to do this? It's okay if you don't want to because I know she's been missing her family from Ohio. So we're going to move her to a different day. So me and Debra will figure out what we'll talk about next week. Even if it's just, you know, a quick food conversation. So Debra can just share some more of her beautiful knowledge with us. But until next time, guys, I appreciate all you guys.
I want to say thank you so much for holding this space, Yella and Debra. Thank y'all so much for holding this space because, like I said before, this is something that's important. People are at work and they're listening in and they're getting some good, positive, you know, things to listen to because they could be listening to trash right now, you know. So
and thank you guys for being here because it's really just, and I wanted to create this space for. And, you know, a lot of people are having open conversations, and I love that. But for my space, me personally, for what I want to do, I just want it for real people that really know what they're talking about. You know, we are all in school. We have some kind of degree. We have this actual real life professional and personal experience. And I just wanted to come from an actual educational and experience point instead of we're just sharing our opinions and complaining and talking. And respectfully, you know, you scroll through TikTok a lot and you see enough conversations. And I just wanted to create like an actual safe place with real people that just know real stuff, you know what I mean? And just grateful for y'all being here, taking y'all time out. And I'm excited. Like, as people, I see all you guys, I will eventually, if I can, invite everybody on the platform, you know, because we can all bring something different to the table. Simply, I'm definitely hitting you up, girl. I didn't even know you were in mental health. Amber, I'm pretty sure you do something. So as I see people, and if I can invite y'all, or if you want to come on, just let me know. We can definitely plan it out. But until then, yeah, is there anything else, guys?
Thank y'all for having me.
All right, this will be posted on YT. We were trying to do it on YT Live, but talking at the same time, I guess.
We're going to figure it out.
You know what I just thought about? Maybe we could have just lowered the volume on TikTok. And they've just talked on YouTube.
Yeah. Oh, for the recording?
Yeah. Maybe next time. I don't know. I don't like tech stuff, y'all. I don't like a lot of stuff, but we'll figure it out at some point. But we appreciate you guys. Thank you for all the kind words, all the love, the likes, the shares, all the good stuff. You matter. Take care of yourself. And see you Sunday. Oh, and then tomorrow I will be going live to celebrate 500 watch hours on YT because you need 3,000 within a year. Within 4 months, I got 500. So join me tomorrow. I am doing this. Oh, okay. There we go.
Ooh.
And this was $80, y'all. So this is probably the most expensive one I've done so far. So we're doing that to celebrate tomorrow. So stop in, take care of yourself, and have a good day.
Thank y'all.
Bye.